The recording started, and I'll wait like 3-4 minutes, and then we can get started after, just in case people join in a little bit late. But yeah, this is absolutely terrible price action from Bitcoin right now. Um, Last time we streamed, which was I don't remember the day. I think it was a couple of weeks ago now, when I was in Thailand still. Um, this is where we were, right? And we were saying, right, if this holds, expect to move up. So we got that move up. But we didn't quite hit the 1.618, obviously we can see that. And we just got a load of trap traders at the top looking back at it now. And that gave us, obviously, first of all, a nasty liquidation wick. I've never seen anything like that. Like, this is just Bitcoin, right? That's fine. This is nothing to worry about in the grand scheme of things. But it's the altcoins that took the big hit, like we saw. But right now, I was hoping we can at least maintain above the 6-month hold, right? But we're not doing that right now. Hang on, let me switch over. I think it's in this one right here. So what we've been maintaining above this entire time so far has been the previous biannual 6-month seller zone, right? And today we've gone and lost it. Obviously the weekly hasn't closed yet. We've got 2 days and 13 hours left, but that daily has now gone and also gone below the 2024 high. So this is terrible. Right now it's terrible. Why? Because if we look at the weekly, this is also the first time where we've had a proper breaking structure, right? We've officially had one now. I didn't really count that as one because we all know that was just like one massive manipulative wick down, but this is now continuation back to the downside to fill that wick firstly, but also secondly even go and breach it, right? So this weekly close is going to be extremely telling. So I'm going to keep an eye on what the weekly close does, but this is just nasty, bro. I don't know if you guys are seeing like Coinbase, Binance, Bybit, they're all just absolutely nuking the market right now. Almost feels like a coordinated sell-off, right? It's like all those exchanges are just dumping millions and millions of just Bitcoin underneath, one after the other. But yeah, below this, I don't like 108,287. I don't like it below that. The line in the sand is of course 100,876 because that represents the mid of the previous year, right? Where the sellers were in control of 2024. Technically, we're still above the mid of that, right? So I can't be like 100% the top is in. But should we do something like this, right? Anything like this, you now have extremely good opportunities to swing short. Okay, that's what we're looking for now here because yes, I wanted 130k, 140k plus, right? And I still want it, but just because I want it doesn't mean I need to get it. I need to adapt to the data that's actually coming in. And right now, if we, most importantly, go and breach 100,000 and we cannot reclaim it, right? And then we start actually doing something like this and putting lower highs in the bounce up that does come eventually, right? Whenever this sell-off goes, that's going to be a very beautiful area for us to swing short. So that's what I'm going to be looking for to go to swing shorts. Right now, just in spot, right? Just in spot. Spot is obviously in the red. So the question now is, what do I do with spot? And that's what I wanted to do today's stream, right? So we can go over all the options we have. If you guys have any questions about perhaps if you need help with managing your own, right, we can get that done as well. But moments like these are where we be careful, right? We can't be complacent here because the thing is, if the trend shift is confirmed and we put another lower high in, right, and we have a beautiful opportunity to short, no matter how much we want things to go higher and higher and higher, we have to take that RR trade in front of us. And if that happens to be a short, which let's say might be countering everything you wanted to do and wanted to happen this cycle, then it's going to have to be a short, right? We can't just be like, okay, we're just going to keep going up forever. This is terrible price action. Yes, by the time weekly closes, by the time a month down the line, this might be done. But the fact of the matter is, that is hopium, that is not trading, right? If we just hold, with simply the purpose of just holding and saying, oh, eventually we're going to go higher, at that point it's not trading. So I got to do right by you guys. That's what I wanted to really do today's stream. Okay. I'm going to keep checking back to the chat here. Yeah, sweep went to 0.5. You saw Atom, bro. Atom went to 0.001. Oh, we cooked. This looks absolutely terrible right now. But I don't know. The thing is, ETH against BTC, in my opinion, still doesn't look bad. Like ETH against BTC doesn't look bad. We're above, right? If you look at ETH against BTC, we're above the macro point of control, right? For all we know, this could come in to be a really nice smiley face, right? That wick hasn't been filled or anything like this. That demand zone held, right? The 2020 12-month seller zone mid-held. So ETH against BTC looks good. And if ETH against BTC looks good, and let's say it does sort of like, bull flag and go higher, then also will go with it, right? That's why I'm saying this is an area to be extremely cautious, because by no means am I screaming the market has topped, right? I'm not screaming that. But this is one of those things where it could go either way. There's loads of reasons for why bears could be right. There's loads of reasons for why bulls could be right. And it's all going to be obvious in hindsight, right? But in the moment right now, it's literally a coin toss, right? That's why I really wanted to go today. We'll look over all the macro things, right? And we'll go over, do we have any good RO opportunity trades to the downside, to the upside, so on and so forth. We'll take a look at some of those, and then we'll end it there, right? But ETH against BTC honestly looks like ETH against BTC. There is nothing wrong with the ETH against BTC chart right now. In the same way that we were grinding up since April of 2025, we've just had a nice little cool down. But we're still making higher highs and higher lows. We're still holding the key areas. So ETH against BTC could definitely go up, right? Which is why the only thing I'm looking to add to right now is the BTC pairs. That includes LTC against BTC, by the way, because I mentioned that for the challenge account. I want to look at LTC against BTC. My main additions are going to be ETH against BTC still, because this is the one with the strength, right? But I will also be looking to add to LTC against BTC as well, because if alts rally, I do think LTC will rally hard, right? Which is why I think LTC will outperform Bitcoin eventually, which is why I'm looking to get into some LTC against BTC positions. But the main BTC pair I'm going to be trading is still going to be ETH against BTC, because this is the best looking BTC pair, right? If you compare this to LTC against BTC at the end of the day, LTC against BTC is simply how do I say this? It's a bet on what I think is going to happen, right? Chart-wise, this looks nowhere near as good as ETH against BTC, right? The only reason I'm building slowly LTC against BTC positions over time, right? I'm not going into one big trade saying, yeah, this is it. Literally just over time, absorbing that chop, higher time frame mindset, remember, is because this looks at it's the areas where it's like, okay, well, how much lower is it going to go realistically from here, right? And then you look at the LTC chart. If we're going to look at Litecoin right now, 1 second. I swear I had it in one of these. Yeah, there we go. If we go and look at the Litecoin chart, fact of the matter is, this hasn't like broken trend or anything like this, right? Litecoin is still within that area where, especially if you're down towards this line, you would 100%, especially for spot, consider buying, right? So Litecoin hasn't damaged its structure on the macro. It's not like it looks like it's so over. So I think this, for me, still screams accumulation, right? This higher time frame, I can just even do this. I can do this, right? This is since 2018, right? This for me is like what XRP was doing before it rallied, right? XRP, we saw you had multi-year accumulative structure, and then we had this insane rally up, right? LTC for me is doing the same thing for now. The accumulative structure is not breached. So as long as the structure remains, and you can see there's a shark out there that's buying all the blood, right? Eventually, when this breaks out, I don't think Bitcoin has that much higher to go. Even if Bitcoin hasn't topped out and we do get another move up, I don't think it's going to be that much higher. Like I've already said this, I don't think we're going to get 200k Bitcoin, anything like this year, right? It's not going to happen. Our blow off top targets were always between 120 something to like 130 something, right? We'll look at that again in a minute. So that is the reason why I'm betting on the BTC pairs. And of course, you can go and own spot LTC, so on and so forth, right? But I'm also taking advantage of trading the relative strength between the pairs, because at these lows, especially the lower LTC goes, right? Unless you're saying LTC is going to lose its entire support and go to zero, it's going to have less of a drawdown than Bitcoin will, the lower it goes, right? Which is why I'm slowly adding into Litecoin against Bitcoin still. Because that structure, for the same reason I couldn't fade XRP, right? For the reason we were in XRP from those 50 cent lows, right? Even lower, 40 something, 46, 45 cent lows, is the same reason. This is literally the exact same structure right here, right? Which is why I can't be fading LTC as a higher time frame. On a macro scale, right, on what's happening on the higher time frame, there's big players that's accumulating this over time, right? That's what this chart is telling me right now, which is the reason I'm in LTC against Bitcoin. In case anyone was wondering why, because obviously I didn't really give a good reason for why I was getting into LTC against Bitcoin when I mentioned it in the stream. That's the reason, right? Because I think relative strength wise, if LTC holds and we do get a market wide bounce, LTC will outperform Bitcoin, is my opinion. Especially if you get above 147, this thing is going to send very, very hard. You can see just this general area right over here. You do this thing sends, right? That's the reason I like LTC against Bitcoin. As a long term, I'm just going to literally log in daily basis, like every couple of days. Don't care where it is at the lows LTC against Bitcoin. Just buy a bit, just buy a bit, just buy a bit, just long slowly. That's what I'm doing. My high time frame approach, right? And if if something news comes out for LTC, or if anything like that happens, then that's going to invalidate that, I'll let you guys know as I'm saying, okay, I'm going to cut this, right? But for now, the LDC against bids, I'm slowly just bidding daily DCAs, literally keeping it simple. The most basic form of DCA there is, just log in at a certain time every day, every week, whatever, what you're going to do, and just buy. It doesn't matter what the price is, just buy. That's what I'm doing for now with LDC against Bitcoin, right? So I'm going to keep tabbing in and out. But yeah, that crash, it was crazy, bro. And obviously because 6 hours ahead compared to where UK is in Asia, if you're in Asia time, I missed the dump, right? So it's not like I was awake to actually try and open up huge positions at the lows or anything like this, right? Whatever limits I had set beforehand on my main account, some of those got filled, right? Very little, because most things didn't get filled. Like everything was just frozen, right? Very little got filled. But I also, by the time I woke up, the insane buyback had also already happened. So I was like, right, what happened here then? But yeah, let's take a look. Hang on, yeah, Atom, that one was the worst one. Autistic Scream. Yeah, TAO recovered hard. Many things had really insane buybacks. I honestly would not touch leverage. That's the reason I've not gave any leverage plays. I would not touch leverage, especially with the volatility I think we will be experiencing. I don't think this is done yet. Weekly close again, like I said, 2 days. I don't know how much. I don't know if they're going to nuke a level. I don't know if it recover. We're teetering on the edge, right? Would you buy spot here? Obviously, the last spot bid I did was Doge a little bit when I mentioned it after I woke up, and I saw the nasty dump. I had to buy some there, and I was like, right, if I believe in Doge as a spot hold, I'm going to buy some there. I bought that in my new account, right, that I set up in Thailand. So from this point on, any big purchases I do is probably going to be in that Thai account just for the 0% tax. Now, that exchange won't let me do leverage, right? There is no leverage on it. I'm grateful for that, honestly. There is no leverage. It's just spot. But all the big spot holdings I'm going to do, I'm going to buy through that exchange, and then I'm just going to off-ramp it, or rather take it off the exchange to just hold in a ledger or in like a cold wallet somewhere. Right, I'm not leaving anything on exchange. And that's another thing I wanted to mention today. We're going to go over that in a minute. But hang on, I need to go to new chart. So before we look at any more altcoins, anything like this, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Let's take a look at ETH. Let's take a look at the totals, the macros, right? Gold, of course, right? Gold is doing insane, right? It's doing absolutely insane. I'm so tempted to just go and sell like all the gold that I have, but I'm not gonna. Anytime I buy gold, like physical gold, I mean, it's for long-term holds, right? It's not because for me to time the market or anything like this. I'm never gonna sell my gold, but it's so tempting to just be like, I'm gonna go and cash this out. So looking at my safe, like, alright, do I do it? But we look at gold as well, because we know that's been having insane strength, right? Stocks have been doing fine. Our stock portfolio is literally chilling. It's chilling, right? It's just crypto, which makes me really think like this is almost coordinated, right? A bit of opium, because stocks is doing absolutely fine, bro. Stocks is doing insane. In fact, we'll go over a nice stock play I found when I was scanning the charts on the plane on the way back here as well. There was one we're going to take a look at, but stocks is fine, right? You know, metals is clearly fine. Silver ripping, right? Gold ripping. It's just crypto. And the crazy thing is, with all the bearishness on the timeline, you would fully think we're trading at like 70k Bitcoin, but we're really not. But that being said, right, as bullish as I was, as long as we were above, like I was mentioning, as long as we were above our key levels over here, right, now that we're trying to get underneath, I can't remain the same type of bullish, right? Because at the end of the day, I trade charts, I don't trade emotions. So if we lose 108,287 by weekly close, you know, we've already lost this for now, clearly, right? And we get a bearish retest on a lower time frame of that, right? Even after the daily close today, if you go and get a bearish retest of this, right, then that's going to be a very nice short opportunity, right over here. This is the level that you want to really reclaim. You want to reclaim that ASAP. That area between 108,287 to 109,573, that is extremely important, because that represents, of course, the previous year high and also the previous biannual, right, or rather the biannual 2025 biannual seller zone mid, the area where sellers were in control, the top of the area where sellers were in control. So if you reclaim that, then we know we're Gucci to go higher. But right now, what do we have there? We have an order block, we have a supply zone, right? Of course, we have our actual seller zone key levels as well. So should you go there and you do not get above, you can scalp to swing it, you can swing it, that's up to you, right? But that is where I would start looking for short opportunities. Okay, you can use order flow to aid in this, right? But that right there is going to be pivotal. Can bulls go and reclaim this or not is what we are looking at. That is a nice looking candle for now, right? But we just got to see. We got to see right now, because we've lost. At the end of the day, we're below this, and as long as we're below this, it doesn't care how nice the candle looks here, we need to go and reclaim. Okay, so Seed phrase. Send me money, I will send you those. No scam. Yeah. Yeah, got the tax-free shit, bro. Got the tax-free locked in. It was a bit stressful actually getting it open, but it's done now. So that's the big thing, yeah. So how it works is basically as long as I buy through a TSEC approved exchange, right? The Thai SEC. As long as I buy through a mandated SEC approved exchange, so the one I'm using is called Pickup. As long as I use that, as long as I'm purchasing through there using Thai baht, any capital gains fees tax is waived. Is waived, right? So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to send my Thai bank account money, move it from there to the exchange, and then just buy through there. Don't have to worry about KYC or anything like this. That's already done. So yeah, so I've split it between mine and my partner just so I get a big allocation. Yeah. But yeah, so just buy spot through there and just move it out. Literally, that's what I'm gonna do. Buy spot, move out. Buy spot, move out. But okay, let's take a look. So we're gonna speed run some of this, right? We're gonna speed run the macros because I think it's gonna be extremely easy to see. We're gonna go over stocks in a minute as well. Well, stocks as a whole is chilling, right? You can see stocks as a whole is chilling. I'll go over stocks as well. But first, let's go over the macros. So Dixie. In fact, which one is it? This Dixie. It's not this one. Must be this one. Yep, that's the one. Dixie, like we were saying, it's hovering around the 382, right? And that's one of the reasons. Even the previous stream we did, we said, right, if there's going to be any sort of volatility, any sort of uncertainty is going to come in regarding our thesis of moves to the upside, is going to be here, was because we know that Dixie has been in this wave structure, right? We know since 2001, right? We've had this massive wave structure in the form of a bearish Gartley and a bearish steep Gartley, and we know we've obviously mandated those levels, right? We can go and see that entire structure there. The mid has been rejected from, the 2022 high got rejected from, right? And then we went and put in a lower high to confirm around the 2022 mid and the 786, right? And that gave us this move down. We've hit the first target, right? T1. We've already mentioned this. This 382. We need to, for us to get old season, right? Proper old season. What was the one thing we said? We need a Dixie that is absolutely rolling over, right? We haven't had that yet, right? Because at the end of the day, we've hit the first macro area of interest, which is that 0.382. We've hit the bottom of the parallel channel, right? The parallel channel is also valid. And for now, sellers have not managed to take control, right? I was hoping they would have by now, but they haven't. It's what it is. So now we've got to adapt, because if you stick with the 4-year cycle theory, right? And the 4-year cycle is going to be valid for this cycle as well. Then October is when the top is meant to happen, right? So if the 4-year cycle is mandated, and October top happens around October, then what I would expect is Dixie does something like this, goes for a type 2 return back towards, and then perhaps we then get the move down, right? Obviously not till 2031, but maybe like it takes like 8-9 months to a year, right? Maybe next October we get a type 2 return slowly grinding back up to the upside, and then maybe that type 2 return is what gives us what sets us up rather to go even lower, further on down towards 2029, 2030, so on and so forth, right? That's of course super higher time frame, and that's only if sellers cannot take control and break us below. As long as we're above the 382, we have to be open to the possibility that this might move up, and if this moves up and this reclaims, then this can happen, and so on and so forth, right? So we worry about things like these at these levels, so that we aren't caught extremely upside, right? The worst thing you want to do now is just close your eyes and be like, okay, it might get better, and then not pay attention to the fact that, okay, Dixie looks bullish, it's reclaiming key levels, so on and so forth, and then you're like, oh, maybe I should get rid of my spot after everything's already nuked 80%, right? That's how you end up holding the bag, which is why I really wanted to do today's stream, right? So all of you guys can make informed decisions on how you should manage your own risk. As long as you're above the 382, just understand a type 2 return is always a possibility on the Dixie chart, and if that happens, we're not going to get the old season. It's not going to happen, right? Like I said, for a proper old season, the backdrop has always been a Dixie that is crashing. The reason we've made such nice gains in buying spots through altcoins for this leg up we had so far, right, is because we had that initial drop on the Dixie. Now that we're hitting the area of support, if we cannot turn this to resistance and this gets a move back up, as you can imagine, we're going to get that reversal again, right? And that's going to correlate with altcoins absolutely taking a hammering. So pay very, very close attention to what's happening over here, right? You should be paying attention to this 97.939 level, just as a line in the sand. If you want just a singular line in the sand right now on the Dixie, 97.939, right? Next, we have USDT dominance. Nice little God candle up over here. However, approaching resistance, as we can very clearly see, right there. I mean, there's probably multitude of different ways where you can draw these sort of trend lines. Doesn't matter how you do it. USDT dominance at resistance, right? So if you want, basically bears want further drawdown, then they're looking for this breakout retest at this general area. If that happens, that's obviously another factor that's lining up with the fact that should Dixie hold the 382 and USDT dominance get that breakout retest, yeah, I think it's going to be fairly logical to say we're probably not going to get that move up we're waiting for on alts. That insane move up, we're probably not going to get it, right? But as long as we do not break above, and any moves and attempts to get above here are met with SFPs and moves back to the downside, you can't 100% rule out the fact that this might just be a sort of period in crypto where, you know, stocks are going up and especially metals are going up, so there's some uncertainty, right? Markets are nuking, but that could be manipulative to make people sell before we do perhaps get a breakdown, right? Until you now go and do that and actually confirm that, okay, we are out of this downtrend, this is very, very uncertain. Whether we're going to break up or break down, uncertain. That's why we need that the resolution. You get that breakout retest, we go up, get rid of your alts, right? Get rid of your alts, just wait to buy back in is what I would say. You don't, your SFP, we get moved back down, any red you're in is probably going to get retraced again. We're going to chop some more before we get another move, right? So what happens here is also going to be very, very important, meaning Dixie at a moment of extreme vulnerability, right? It either breaks up or it breaks down, but whichever side takes control here dictates, right, is this cycle on, right? Are we going to get this insane bounce on altcoins? Are we going to, that everyone's talking about, right? That we were really hoping we get. Or is it really over? Is it time to pack the bag and come back like a year later to buy more spot, right? That's going to depend entirely on what the Dixie and the USDT dominance chart does at these areas. Because again, as you can see, if you want bears, like if you're bearish now and you want a absolute massive dump in the market, you're waiting for a breakout from this area, right? If you're a bull, you're waiting for this SFP and again a move back down, right? That's what you're waiting for. Either way, now we haven't got that directional resolution yet. Right, we haven't got it yet, which is why I'm saying this could go either way. Both bears and bulls have loads of reasons as to why the market could top, why it could bottom, right? There's literally both. So we'll get onto risk management in a minute. We'll get onto, like, you know, how you can manage your risk, how you can manage your spot position, so on and so forth. We'll get into that in a minute. But first, let's take a holistic view, like I said, of everything. We still need to go through the total, so let's just speed through it. USDC dominance, again, going up into resistance. This is, let me take a look, one sec. I'm lazy, so we're just going to turn that on. Bottom on, double bottom. Maybe. Okay, let me get rid of this. 3 here. Let me get rid of this right over here. Okay, so USDC dominance at resistance as well. You can go ahead and draw your the buy seller zones on for key levels or key inflection areas, whichever one prefer. Do both. I don't really, both is always the best. But again, no matter how you look at it, USDC dominance at resistance, right? That will, the wick, right? That wick that we created, we're going to fill it. And if you do that, there's your seller zone, right? You're at the mid, right? Again, the mid is being very, very critical. If you can get above the mid, this probably, you know, you have a very good shot at getting above 2.31%. If that happens, then you're going to go and challenge these highs. You're going to get, again, a bigger drawdown. If you cannot get above, and again, if you're bullish, this is what you're hoping for. You're hoping for, like, you know, the max you do is SFP that and then come back down, right? That's what you're hoping for if you're bullish. But if you're bearish, you want to see this flip to support, and then you want to see just continuation to the upside, right? But the main one I want to look at is, of course, we looked at USDT and USDC dominance. What about USDT plus USDC dominance, right? And that's having a really, really nice move up. So I want to look at them together, and if we look at them together, and we look at, I'm just interested in this wick for now. Right, it's over here, 7.23%. That is your, for those of you who wants to do lower time frame trading as well, if you want to start opening up, like, you know, if you want to just trade this with leverage or just scalps, especially, this is the level you're looking at. Okay, 7.23%. As long as you're above this, and if this, for example, if this hourly retest is successful, right, you've got an hourly buy seller zone right over here. If this retest is successful, this has a good shot at going towards 7.82%. If that happens, we're going to get further drops across the market, okay? Expect more red. Because again, that's just indicating that stablecoin dominance is going up, meaning more and more people are rotating into stables, right? So in fact, if you wanted to do anything right now, right, you would do so based off this. If you wanted to hedge, scalp short, if you wanted to do anything to protect some downside, you would do so based around the 7.23 level. If this hourly close is above, right, you can probably go ahead and go to, I'm not going to say go to any chart you want, but you can try and go to BTC, to ETH, anything like this, right? And you could try to catch that short that will come, right? Because if this is successful and this happens, the crypto markets as a whole is going to be doing this, right? Inverse correlation. So this 7.23%, if you want lower time frame scalps, as long as you're above this and using this as support, you're good to scalp short, right? And then you can turn that into scalp the swing if you want, right? Just in case. But as long as you're above 7.23%, if the resolution of this is higher, we're going to get more drops. We're going to get more drops in the market is what it is. So it's going to go lower, BTC is going to go lower, ETH's going to go lower, and altcoins are definitely going to go lower. So right now, this line is what you're looking at, right? If you want an hourly close, for example, 22. If you want to do even lower time frame, 30 minutes, 15, whatever, you're scalping, scalp to swinging, whatever time frame you want to trade, above 7.23, you're biasing shorts, okay? Below, you'd buy scalp to swing longs, because as long as you're below this, now you're saying, okay, well, there's a chance stablecoin dominance goes back to the downside. And if we get that stablecoin dominance going to the downside, then the inverse correlation is telling us that crypto as a whole should go to the upside, right? But right now, that looks like a, that looks like buyers taking control at this. So if you wanted to scalp short, you could go on right now, right? Whatever coin you wanted to trade, it could just be Bitcoin, it could be Solana, it could be Ethereum. If you see the opportunity to scalp short, this is where you do it, okay? Before you get that insane move up. So just keep that in mind, okay? So for now, then, what we've discovered is Dixie is holding the key level, we're not getting the breakdown. Stablecoin dominance is also at a key area and we're not getting the breakdown. USDT dominance is at a key area and we need to break out for further bearish continuation. But stablecoin dominance in terms of USDT plus USDC is trying to get above that key area that's going to give us continuation to the upside, meaning crypto going to get continuation to the downside, right? BTC dominance next. Let's take a look. We're going to go through everything and then we're going to stitch a picture together, right? That's what I wanted to do in today's stream. Bitcoin dominance, it's holding the diagonal, right? The diagonal from like literally all-time highs to the lows. This is the macro diagonal, right? It's holding that, and that's what gave us that insane move up. Now, if you look at this, we have a very good argument to be made about why Bitcoin dominance could be that was very structured for Bitcoin dominance. Right? You have your initial rejection. You have your raid on liquidity, you have your reconfirmation and rejection, right? So Bitcoin dominance, as long as it's below this gray box, I do think Bitcoin dominance is not going to go higher, right? Even if you go up to fill this wick, anything like this, 61%, 63%, so on and so forth, as long as you don't get above, you do have that inverse smiley face structure going for yourself, right? And if that inverse smiley face structure, again, if the resolution of that's to the downside, while Dixie and stablecoin dominance also resolves to the downside, altcoins will, I think we will get that move we've been wanting on altcoins, but that is a ways off, right? That is a ways off for now. But if you look at Bitcoin dominance as a whole, we bounced off support, right? We bounced off the 57.21%, which is the 2020 low, literally a huge S&P at the 2020 low, reconfirmation of a higher low afterwards, meaning you have the smiley face right over here, right? And then that is what gave us that huge move up which gave us that dump on Friday, the altcoin dump, right? The reason we got the altcoin dump on Friday, another reason, Bitcoin dominance went insanely higher. Why? Because Bitcoin hardly moved. Bitcoin dropped to what, like 100 and, what did Bitcoin go to? I completely forgot. One sec. I think Bitcoin went to like, and that drop, it went to like 100 and something. Yeah, 104, right? It didn't do much. It went to 104, which is about like a 19, 20k drop. right? Which is of course still nasty for a high cap asset, but that drop literally still kept us above all the key levels we needed to be above, right? So Bitcoin dominance, for that reason, blasted extremely high. Alts got absolutely wrecked, right? And now it's looking to resume that grind higher. This doesn't look bearish right now. Bitcoin dominance looks like it wants to go higher. In terms of TA, what you're going to be looking for is this, right? For now, there. If you can reclaim this, Bitcoin dominance goes higher. If you cannot, then maybe you chop some more before going higher or before breaking down. But based on where we are on the chart right now, I'll be doing it around that daily order block right over there. Right, because you can see it was support before, it was clearly resistance, right? It mitigated it, used it as support. So now if you can get above this, then I think you go and target maybe 63-64% again, right? Basically go and try to fill that wick. But if not, if you don't get above and you keep staying underneath, then perhaps we can revisit back down towards 57-56%, so on and so forth. Now, one common misconception is Bitcoin dominance going down is always going to be bullish. No, that's not the case, right? Bitcoin dominance is going down while Bitcoin is also going down. And totals also going down. That's not going to be good, right? Because that's just going to indicate that money's leaving crypto as a whole, right? Because people conflate, okay, Bitcoin dominance is going down with alt season, straight away, and that's not always the case. Like I said, right, it's a fine act, right? If we want Bitcoin dominance to be going down, we need total one to be holding. We need Dixie and USDT dominance. We need Dixie and stablecoin dominance to be coming down as well, while total 2, total 3, so on and so forth hold. ETH against BTC starts coming up. We need all of those to be lining up, right? If Bitcoin dominance goes down while the entire of the market's coming down, alt's going to take a big hit, right? So that's something to keep in mind for now. So that's Bitcoin dominance. Another piece of the puzzle, we're just going to keep going until we've gone through all the macro indicators, and we're going to look at it holistically, right? ETH dominance, we don't really need to look at that right now, because again, Bitcoin is where it's at right now, right? ETH against BTC, of course, is important, but if Bitcoin nukes, ETH is going to go with it, right? So the main thing is Bitcoin dominance, and of course we have this. What is this? This is Bitcoin plus stablecoin dominance. And this is why it's so hard, right? This is why right now you see such a divided timeline, especially like, loads of people were bullish, flipping bearish straight away, saying like, it's completely over. This is going to challenge anyone in terms of like, if you're looking to buy spot, if you're looking to wish for a proper alt season, this would have completely juked you out, right? This would have, and it's by no trader's fault. This is straight up manipulation. It was, right? Things don't just fall to 0.001 cents, right? That doesn't happen in a fair market, right? So what is this? This is Bitcoin dominance plus stablecoin dominance. Again, what do you want for alt season? You want Bitcoin dominance to be going down while stablecoin dominance is going down. You don't want people rotating into USDT, right? You want people spending their USDT. So if Bitcoin's going down while people are actually spending their USDT, that clearly means that, okay, money's not rotating into staples, meaning it must be going into something else. And that's when, you look at the rotation to ETH, you look at the rotation to, your layer 1s, your layer 2, so on and so forth, right? That's when the rotation to altcoin begins. Therefore, we need this to be bearish. Now, this had already broken structure, right? For all we know, this could be another like massive lower high before we actually get that move down, right? To 61.75%, 54.63%, so on and so forth. But right now, what it's doing is trying to round here, right? If this ends up being another sort of high low, then this is your range. You have a range, that's your range right over there, right? So the range mid would be a first target, and then the range high is next. What you don't want to see, of course, is this. Holistically speaking, you don't want to see that, right? But right now, how you're going to be playing this is, again, that liquidation wick. What is happening in terms of the liquidation wick? There's your seller zone. You're above the low of the seller zone, meaning your next target is going to be 68.71%. As long as you're above 66.11%, 68.71% is going to come, right? If you don't want that to hit, sellers need to once again take control and drop this below 66.11%. If that happens, then 61.75, and then below 61.75, that is when you have 54.63. And even just this drop, okay, even just to move from 61.75 to 50.63, that will absolutely send many alts to the upside. Okay, in terms of percentage, it doesn't look like much, but a lot of money gets rotated in moves like this. You can see how much alts have bled, and we've only had a move like that, right? So you can imagine how much of a green you would have in altcoins if this gets, and that's the if, right? Because at the end of the day, we haven't even hit 61.75% yet. So for now, what are your three key levels on Bitcoin dominance for stablecoin dominance? It is 66.11, 68.71, and 71.3, right? Right now, your eyes should be on 68.71%. What happens over there? We do not want this flipping to support, because it becomes so much harder to stay risk on alts, let's say, right? It becomes so much harder to vouch for alt season when you're reclaiming all the levels you need to, when we know we need, this is again inverse correlation. We want this to be going to the downside, not to the upside, right? So that is Bitcoin dominance per stablecoin dominance. But if you look at the macro wave structure, or if you look at the macro wave structure, we have still hit the 886. That hasn't changed. The fact that we've hit a macro, right, a macro bearish band hasn't changed. We're still there. And remember, time is not a factor in harmonics. So for all we know, we could literally do this and then do this, right? But your alts will suffer heavily in this period. It will suffer very, very heavily in this period, right? So on the grand scheme of things, I think it's still too early to be saying, oh yeah, we're definitely not going to get alt season, because at the end of the day, charts like this, which you can use as a barometer of altcoin strength, right, aren't indicating that we've bottomed out for sure. It's not indicating that, right? Because if you look at this again holistically, if anything, what this is telling us is, this is telling us that we've hit a bearish structure. And again, some people don't like harmonics. It's what it is, right? I'm trying to explain this in terms of a wave structure standpoint. In terms of a wave structure, we've hit the 886, right? And we're still below that. Again, just like how when we were looking at Dixie earlier, if sellers do manage to keep this suppressed, we also have the inverted smiley face at this area, right? So if that happens, you can't be surprised if all of a sudden the people who flip bearish today, within like a month, again flip bullish because everything's rallied back to the upside. We can't be surprised, right? But just understand, if this does go to fill that 71.3% wick, altcoins will bleed way more, right? Altcoins will bleed way, way more. That is where we sit right now, in the precipice of either doom or gloom, literally, right? BVOL I don't really care about right now. So let's look at total. Total, we've got the retest, right? We've got the retest with the wick that actually we got with our liquidation. And this retest, we said, is something to be expected, right? We said don't be surprised if you do get a retest of this, because you've broken out, but you haven't retested the actual breakout of the supply line yet. There's the retest, right? Here is your wick. Again, what do you want to see here? You want to see 3.55 trillion hold, right? In fact, you've got a very big zone that you need to see hold right now. That zone is between 3.72 trillion and 3.55 trillion. If we can flip that back into support, I honestly think we go towards 4.69 trillion, right? If we cannot, and we do something like we grind down slowly again, come up and we start turning this to resistance again, you know where you're going to get your short, right? There you go. That's where you're going to look for swing shorts, right? If you come down and you see that turn into resistance, that's, if you're looking for swing shorts, that's where you do it. If you're looking for scalp to swings, you just drop your time frame, and if you get like that fill back to the upside here, right? You get something like this, and you start seeing a weakness coming in here. That's where you would build your scalp to swing / scalp shorts, right? But again, below this level, it looks infinitely worse than above, right? We were building above this level since July, right? We haven't had an issue with this level yet, which is why it was so easy to remain bullish anytime you came down here. Now that we breached it, I can't remain the same amount of bullish, because price action is now telling me, okay, buyers are really, really struggling at this area, right? Again, I think if you look at this in terms of, one sec, no, okay, we're above 2024 high still. If I go here and I go to total, I believe we're above 2024 highs anyway. Where's it gone? No idea. But hang on, we can just do this. If you do this, here's the 12 months. There we go. That's your previous year. Not previous year, sorry. That's your last cycle, 2021. Current cycle, 2024, is over here. All right. So that's another thing to consider. So let me get rid of this one for now, or rather, let me change the color of that to red. This is the one we're interested in. If I go back to the daily. Another thing to be wary of is that, again, 2024 high, we're below that now, right? We've got, just like with Bitcoin, we were above 2024 high all this time. You know, you've got previous year high, you've got zero reason to be bearish, right? Now, once again, you're slipping below your 2024 high, right? In fact, you're at 2024 mid right now. That's what's providing support, as you can see right over there. As long as we can hold the mid, like again, you guys know how this system works. As long as you can hold the mid, we are fine. If you can hold the mid, what we are simply looking for is a reclaim of that key level, get back above 3.73 trillion, and then send it higher, right? But if we cannot hold the mid, and the mid is also lost, that's when again it becomes so just absolutely shit price action, right? So what we want to see is, if you want to, let's say right now, let's say the cycle is over, right? Let's say the cycle is over. What would you want to see? You'd want to see something like this, right? And if we get this and we get that opportunity to take the short there, that's where we do it. If they don't give us that short before going lower, then the short opportunity is going to come when we lose 3.46 trillion, right? You just say your alerts are basically for this area and 3.46, right? Whichever alert goes first, you're gonna log in and you're gonna see if this alert goes off, for example, and you see, okay, price is going down, and then you see, okay, maybe you want to join in on the trend on the lower time frame, right? 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 15, if you want a momentum based scalp. If you see closes below and then you see that lower time frame retest there not succeeding, you can just go on the Bitcoin chart, each chart, so on and so forth, counter trade this chart. Not counter trade, sorry, trade according to this chart. Because if you're below 3.46 trillion, then total one is going to take you to 3.18 trillion next, right? And that right there, again, you can on BTC, on ETH, on these cryptos that are now directly correlated to these, not inversely, but directly correlated, you're going to get moves down across the market. That's the whole reason this is going to be red, right? Remember, this shows you the market cap of the entire crypto space put together, right? So right now, total one lands in the sand, 3.46 trillion or 3.73 trillion, right? It's very just two key levels to look at without overcomplicating it. 3.46 trillion or 3.73 trillion. And the thing we really need to get above again is this right here. That zone is what we really need to get above, because again, on the higher time frame, we can see that is the mid of the wick, 3.55 trillion, mid of that liquidation wick we got. And then above that, we have our two macro ABCDs, right? From all the way down over there. So above this, we get a continuation back to the upside. But below, we're going to get some really nice short opportunities to take to 3.18, 3.01. And if we get below these trend lines, right? Understand, we're targeting like 2.19 trillion, right? We're targeting all the way down over there, in my opinion, because that'd be your next series of yearly key levels, right? So total one, let's take a look at total two. Rated all-time highs, couldn't get above, back down. It's a shame because, you know, ETH had the momentum, right? ETH had the momentum. It just couldn't catch the momentum in this move up anyway to actually get these higher targets. Otherwise, it was all set up. The alley-oop was there. You just couldn't land it. So again, liquidation wick right here. Now, total two, you can see very important support coming in right over here, right? So it's not a surprise then that this is happening as ETH is around our support areas as well, if I'm not mistaken. If I go to ETH, 1 second. There, ETH is at the mid of our key inflection area, right? Literally at the mid of the key inflection area. I've not drawn the key inflection area on this one. 1 second. But we can just look at it like this. ETH is at the mid of our key inflection area. So ETH is a support, the daily demand zone right here. Oh, sorry, weekly demand zone rather. Weekly demand zone filled, weekly order block, no matter how you look at it, filled, right? At yearly levels as well. So if ETH can hold here and total 2 can also hold, it doesn't break below this, I'll be looking at a move back up towards 1.51 trillion first, 1.51 to 1.56, and if we get above that to 1.71. Right, on a macro, you want this, of course, right? But now we've seen this bearishness play out to the downside. We know that we can't just look at these key levels as supports anymore. They are also providing resistance. So, again, this is not for higher time frame. This is now for more, if you want to leverage, if you want to do intraday, if you want to do scalper swings, right? Because that's where this is going to be really, really useful. Of course, higher time frame is going to be useful too, but you also want to be able to execute on a lower time frame now, right? As long as this is support, ETH has a shot to rebound, right? Total 2 rather has a shot to rebound, meaning ETH has a shot to hold its relative strength compared to the rest of the market. As long as you're above this. Because again, like I said, 1.51 to 1.56 trillion, and above that you have 1.71 trillion, and then of course new highs, right? So again, you can look at this on the weekly, you can look at this on the daily, you can look at this on the 4 hours, you can look at this on the 15 minutes, right? The levels don't change. These are your key levels that you need to hold, 1.37 to 1.31. If you go down there and you see bounces, right? And you see ETH is also a support on its main chart, you can take scalps / scalp to swing longs on Ethereum. If we get a move back up first and then you see weakness coming in, SFPs, trap traders, all the whole lot coming in, right? Then that's where you scalp the swing / scalp short on Ethereum, right? Longs, as long as this holds. Shorts, as long as these hold. These don't give buyers opportunity to get above, right? Now, if you go and reclaim this, it's really nice because you have a shot straight up towards your all-time highs on Total 2 again. And if we do that after this liquidation, if we go all the way back over here, I do think next time around, my thesis would be you go towards 2 trillion, 2.11, so on and so forth, right? But if not, and we cannot get above these key levels, of course, the ones we're looking at is the mid of the seller zone, right? The yearly seller zone, 1.51 trillion, that being the next line in the sand. If you cannot get above this 1.51 to 1.56 trillion, then that is again where you will look for your next shorts. Right here, right? Total 3. Deep Gartley just hasn't let us get above, right? We filled the entire, for the type 2, not the type 2, sorry, for the drop, we filled the entire of the, that's the first target of the Gartley, that was the second target of the Gartley, right? We literally hit the second target, bounced straight up to the Deep Gartley target. The price action is just insane here. I don't know what else to say. The price action is absolutely crazy. It's whiplash. This is no longer valid because of this absolutely nasty candle down over here. Well, I mean, we can do this, one sec. We can do this. There we go. Close to a 786. That's still a valid crab, right? Should that, even if you got an 886, it would still technically be a valid crab. But of course, again, if we get that total 3 drop down, they're also going to be absolutely wrecked, right? They're going to be wrecked. So right now what we have is this, a potential wave structure, potential taking us to 1.46. Doesn't mean it needs to happen. That local price action there is absolutely nasty. We even had that breakdown and then the lower high, right? That came in right over here. So that was nasty. Right now you're at support. You're not going to be shorting. Let's say if you want to short altcoins as a collective, right? Open up fresh shorts. Obviously, for obvious reasons, you're not going to be doing it at key support like this, right? You just go on the lower time frame, wait for something like this to happen, because that can easily happen on the lower time frame. Rather get that lower time frame, even if it's like a 3-minute, 5-minute confirmation. Rather get that lower time frame flip, right? Rather get that lower time frame breach of support before jumping in, than just piling into shorts and piling into downside trades at support, right? We play with logic. We don't play with emotions here. As nasty as things look, we're right now at support, so we need that support to be lost if you want to now take the next leg down, because the next leg down would take you once again to fill that wick, right? So current cycle, let's do this, and let's do this. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna go and just untick all of this. That's just clutter right now. We don't need any of that. And I'm just going to leave these on, right? There we go. So the golden pocket is where we currently are. If we can hold, total 3 can go up, but is it going to hold? That's the question. We probably have until the weekly close to really see, which is about 2 days, where this ends up, right? But right now, total 3, that looks ugly, right? You can't lie, that looks absolutely insanely ugly. Total 3 looks ugly right now. With that lower high there, that looks insanely ugly. Others, let's take a look. Down to the 382, right? You hit the 66618 of your wave structure. That right there, something, let's take a look, one sec. So it has 618 to 1.618. That one's not been hit. That's not been hit. Now this has been invalidated because of that move down. So I can get rid of this one. That is no longer a valid wave structure. Realistically, we could invalidate. Hang on, this is. How have I done this? This is at the completely wrong spot. One sec. That should be over here. That should be a 707. Not a 618. I don't know why this was put over there, because this low came first. 707 1.414 is what we're looking for. Yeah, there we go. So that peak basically hit, right? 707 1.414. Do we have anything else we can even look at here? We can even begin looking at. I don't want to be the guy drawing wave structures on liquidation events, but just in case, let's take a look. One sec. Looks like the hop of a bat, 1.13. Oh, way past that. 1.13 would be here. Yeah, I'm not even going to try and wave structure that. It's not going to work. This is all in relation to this insane wave structure here, by the way. In case you're wondering, where did these come from? The T1 and the T2. That's in relation to this, right? The whole reason we actually called the move off from 2022 up till now to begin with. This is not really telling me much, to be honest. This is others. This is like a lower caps, excluding top 10. I would rather look at total 3 for now, because if you're gonna buy spot, right? If you're gonna buy spot altcoins, let it be the big caps right now. You're not gonna go way down the risk curve here, in my opinion. Like if you do, you're gonna do it with little size, because if things do roll over, like if high caps are losing like huge chunks of their liquidity, you can imagine the low caps are going to get decimated. So others probably isn't even the best thing to look at right now. I'd probably just rather look at total 3. Total 3 is a support. That's the important thing. Others is also at support, right? Meaning if you wanted to go out the risk curve and get super low, if you wanted to DCA into rather super low cap altcoins, you'd be doing so as long as you did not lose this area support, 213.02 billion, right? As long as you didn't lose that, would be fine. But if this is lost, then yeah, this again, I think you blow past that wick, you probably go and take out even more to the downside, right? So for now, basically, the line in the sand on others is 213.02 billion. That's the level you need to look at. Right there. Total DeFi looks. The DeFi looks so much better. Like usual, this has been the reoccurring thing that's been going on this entire cycle. DeFi looks so much better than the other totals. Look at this; it looks so much better. Like if you looked at this DeFi chart, you wouldn't really even be worried right now. You'd be like, okay, look, we're holding everything. We've reacted off the support. We're literally holding 2022 yearly level right now as we speak. Current cycle. The wick is a bit lower, so 97.8 billion. To 96.94 billion. That's the first line in the sand. If you lose 104.82, that is, right? But DeFi looks so much better than everything else, right? Total DeFi looks so much better. But again, if you wanted to bid spot, of course, the best place you can do it is if you get that drop once more towards this areas and it holds, that you couldn't ask for a better spot to get spot, right? For DeFi, if you're looking at DeFi projects, you're looking at Aave, looking at Tau, so on and so forth, right? Looking at Lido, things like this, right? If you wanted to buy more spot, you would not get a better place than that area right over there for DeFi. Others, BTC looks, yeah, that looks crap right now. That looks really weak. I was hoping they could sustain this rally because they were grinding, but they couldn't do it. For now, they couldn't do it, right? You're back below the 886, and most importantly, that entire trend, that's you're sort of below that, right? So all you have here is that wick. But what this chart is telling us right now is, as things stand right now, right at 1:05 p.m., Bitcoin looks much better as a store of value than your coins that fall outside of the top 10. Your altcoins look extremely weak right now, is what it's saying. Again, we're not surprised because we also know that Dixie's posturing, right, is refusing to break down. We know stablecoin dominance is also looking like it wants to go up. We know Bitcoin dominance plus stablecoin dominance looks like it wants to go up. So we already know all coins are showing weakness. This is just another way to visualize it, right? Others BTC, right now this looks insanely weak. It was looking good, it was looking like, okay, this can go on to something, right? This can sprout to a nice little rally up that can give us sats against Bitcoin, right? But it just wasn't to be. So that's others. Let's look at total DeFi dominance. Looks better than others dominance because again, you're above the things you need to be above, right? DeFi coins right now is probably going to hold its value better than altcoins that are not considered DeFi, right? That's what this is telling you right now. And last but not least, we've got others dominance. Insane fill to the downside. This is crazy. Yeah, just straight weakness. We really needed that flip right there, right? We really needed that flip. We didn't get the flip, and then that gave us that insane move back down to the downside on altcoins. Again, people look at this and they'll be like, oh, how did you not see that, Atom dumping to 0.001 coming? It's like, even if you see this, right, and it didn't get above, you're not going to sit there thinking altcoins are going to lose 99% of the value. You're not going to be thinking that, right? But that is others dominance. So with all that together, right, total 3 against Bitcoin here as well. So we saw that wick down. That wick down is universal with how Friday played out last week. Maybe we feel that 886 in this case, right? We'll have to see on total 3 against Bitcoin. If we get back below this grey box, I think we actually go to fill that 886 up at 0.031. So putting it all together then, right? Looking at all the macros here. Why go through all of these one by one is so we can build a holistic picture. What do we get from looking at all this? So we know, I'll just put it here. We know Dixie looks like it wants to go up, right? In fact, let me do it like this. One sec. Let me go here and let me open up like a, what have I not really done much TA on? Probably Mudeng. Damn, bro. Okay. There's hopium lines on my, just ignore that for now. I'm just going to leave it there. I'll look at it properly later. But what do we know? Dixie looks like it wants to go higher, as you can see from over here, right? As long as Dixie is above the 382, 97.939, we know there's a shot that this can go to the upside. And I wouldn't be surprised if Dixie went back to 103, right? Because another way to look at this locally is there. If this breakout retest is successful on the Dixie, which for now it's not, but it can very easily be, right? If you go and flip that, then I think Dixie goes back to 103 over time. So Dixie is currently at an area where you've hit your first target of the wave structure, and buyers are not for now in control over the sellers, right? That's not the case. Right now, sellers are exhibiting control over the buyers, right? And I mean that with the inverse correlation. So if you're looking at actual Dixie itself, then what we say is in Dixie, buyers are currently trying to take control over the sellers, and we do not want this. If you are in altcoins, if you want altcoin season, this is not what we want. We want the opposite. We want sellers to be in control over the buyers, right? So the first piece of the puzzle, a very important one, is currently not in our favor anymore, right? It was trying to be. It's not right now, right? Because that price action there is telling us, okay, we've got a double bottom. We're trying to reclaim. In fact, we already have, for now, reclaimed the 382. We're trying to break out of the trend line. If that happens, we've got higher to go. That backdrop is not where you hold alts, right? So Dixie is currently against us, right? Next, we're looking at stablecoin dominance. We've seen USDT dominance is currently at resistance, which is something in our favor. But if Dixie absolutely shoots up, it's not going to take much for USDT dominance to do this, right? So where we currently are is, again, not an area where you would 100% with confidence say, yeah, altcoin season's over, but you have to be very, very cautious here, because what we again need for altcoin season is we need the backdrop of stablecoin dominance dying, and this is not what's happening right now, right? Stablecoin dominance is not rolling over and dying the way that we want it to, right? So once again, I'm going to go here, current cycle, put that wick down real quick. So line in the sand for now is 5.09%. If this maintains above 5.09%, they're going to keep attempting to stab above these trend lines. And if that's successful, then once again, USDT dominance also has a move up. USDT dominance, same thing, right? If you get above your wick, it goes up. Stablecoin dominance, same thing. You get above that wick, it's going to shoot up. That's one. I'm already hoping we roll over and get a retest at some point. And number two would be right over here. There, right? So, first things first, we are currently at resistance on stablecoin dominance, no matter how you look at it, right? Meaning this is not an area where, you would go and open up fresh longs, right? This is not an area where you would anticipate for certain that we're going to get a breakout. Because if we can't get a breakout, then obviously we're going to roll over, right? And that is what we want. We want stablecoin dominance to roll over so that our longs are going to be successful, right? Our altcoin bags are going to be successful. So this is, if anything, if you wanted to look for good R opportunities right now, you'd see, do you have any long opportunities based on stablecoin? You'd see, do we have any good R opportunities on the long side, right? So we've got that, right? Next we have, of course, the total ones, the total two, so on and so forth. But let me just write this down. So stablecoin dominance, STD plus BTC dominance, right? Actually, wait now. Stablecoin dominance plus Bitcoin dominance is currently 50-50. We've looked at this, right? We've looked at stablecoins, we looked at where Bitcoin dominance is, and we can very easily see that it could go either way right now with how it's going. Like, we've seen Bitcoin dominance is a resistance. We've seen stablecoin is currently at resistance, but if it breaks out, it's going to break out. If it doesn't, it's going to roll over. It's 50-50, right? So Dixie is not in our favor. And I would say this is not, it's not in our favor either. Right? If it was in our favor, we'd already be rolling over. It's 50-50. So we can't, the only thing actionable we can do here right now based on stablecoin is look for scalp to swing longs if we see any good RO opportunities on any of the coins we're looking at. Right? Because if it does reject, because for now we haven't gone above, if it does reject, those longs are going to print, right? And aside from that, we have total 1 below yearly previous year high. We have total 2 below obviously our yearly levels. We have total 3 below our yearly levels as well. We already know that. And we have others also below our yearly levels, right? All chilling at support right now. Yeah, all chilling at support. Market structure hasn't, it's broken on the local, right? If you look at this on the monthly and stuff, we can't claim market structure is broken. Like, again, this dump, don't forget, this has happened plenty of times on the way up. Dump right here, right? 2024 dump. 2024, end of 2024, start of 2025, same thing, dump. But at the end of the day, the market structure wasn't broken. So market structures haven't broken on the higher time frame. They haven't broken on the higher time frame. Look, on the monthly, look, this is a breakout retest. If the retest is successful and if we can get above, we will carry on going higher. Right. However, we are also, if you look at this on a more local time scale basis, like the daily, like the weekly, like the 3 days, so on and so forth, we are currently below the key levels we need to be, right? Like the macro ABCDs, the ABCDs, the yearly levels, so on and so forth. So on a more local scale, it is very, very is clear that we could, until we reclaim, further downside is in the table, right? But on a higher time frame, this wouldn't be something you look at and say, oh yeah, this is definitely a top, right? Because again, you know, people did the same thing here, but it wasn't a top, right? For now, what we have is breakout retest at the end of the day, right? So on a local scale, the totals are telling us we could see further downside, even though we're currently on like a 3 minute, on like a 15 minute, we're currently at support. On a daily, on a weekly, we're below the things we need to be. We can get over the coming days, over the coming weeks, basically. We wouldn't be surprised if we got some more chop, if we got some more grind down, is what we're saying. So we put all that together holistically. What do we have? Right? We have buyers taking control of the sellers on Dixie, which is against us. For now, we have 50-50 on Bitcoin dominance plus stablecoin dominance. i.e., we can't. I've been able to say very confidently. The reason I've been able to say very confidently, higher so far into the cycle, has been because this has always been in our favor, and this has also been in our favor. But now this is not in our favor. Right, it's 50-50 right now. And last but not least, the totals. The totals on a higher time frame, right? Higher time frame for now is in our favor. But on a medium to local time frame, right, is currently not in our favor because we've lost key levels. And the problem with this scenario is if all we look at is the monthly, right? That's fine. If you're literally a high time frame spot holder, all you want to do is hold spot. You do not care if you're red for the next 6 months. That's fine. But for many people, that's not the case, right? You want to utilize your USDT to the max. Maybe you've already deployed everything you have. You don't have cash to buy if you go lower. If that's the case, this is a horrendous scenario to be in because what was a higher time frame being in our favor can switch to a higher time frame not being in our favor very, very fast off this, right? So since this is here now, we have to be very, very careful. So what does that mean? That means that right now, if you are all in the market, right? If you're all in the market and you're holding some position in the red, right? I can't tell you what to do, but I would cut some. 40%, 50%. If you want cash, if you think there's a chance we go lower and we want cash and you're in the red, you're fully deployed, I would rotate back into stables for some, right? Now, the reason for this is because even if you sell a little bit in the red, right? You sell, let's say you get rid of half your portfolio in the red. If you have that cash free and all coins take another collective nuke of 30% or something like this, let's say, just random numbers, right? You're going to be very, very grateful that you took some money out, right? Because you let's say you amputated your hand before your entire arm needed to be chopped off, kind of scenario, right? That's simply because the medium and the lower time frame right now is not in our favor, right? This is how I make my high time frame decisions, right? The reason I've been able to confidently tell you guys, yes, I'm gonna buy. I don't think it's over yet. I don't think it's over yet. I don't think it's over yet. And the reason we've been consistently hitting, right? We've been printing on every single thing we've done, is because everything has been in our favor. Even the medium and the lower time frames, they were in our favor when every time I gave like a buy signal, right? But now it's not in our favor. It would be very irresponsible of me to tell you guys, just buy this dip, right? When every single time I've told you guys that to buy the dip so far has been in moments like this, when we've been sat at support, right? A very logical reason to, because if you've not been, if this has been lost, you can cut very, very, very quickly, and if it holds, then again you've got this to go up to, right? Every single time it's been successful because everything has been in our favor. Dixie going down, stablecoin dominance going down, Bitcoin dominance going down, while we maintain above the things we need to maintain above, right? Now what we have is not the same. We are below our 2024 high. We have gone and put, at the end of the day, right, the last high lows, for example, on a local scale that led to the higher high has been taken out, a lower high has been put in. We've lost our macro key levels, right, that we need to be above. We've lost those, right? You know, we SFP the 2.618, the ABCDs right over here, right? The 382, the 2.24, that 2.618 was also an SFP. We hit it, we SFP'd it, right? So with that being said, as long as we are not above this, it pays to be careful, because even if you go up here and you grind and you cannot get above, we can't be surprised, like I said, if we get this, if we get deeper. And if we get deeper, we're going to have way more red than we have right now, right? This is the moment where you be defensive, right? There's a moment between buying, because it's a logical buy, right? Every single time I've said buy so far has been a logical buy. It's either been with trend or because we've had pullbacks at two key areas. For me to say buy everything you have right now would not be a logical buy, because look, there's no point fully allocating now when you're showing weakness below previous year highs, right? So if you have no cash, if you have no cash to buy with, right, or if you are all in spot or anything like this and you're in the red, I know it's hard to cut when you're in the red, right? Especially if that was a green trade and that turned red. But trust me when I say, I would rather chop off a finger and save my hand than just wait until, like, my entire fucking arms, necrosis, right? So you can always enter whatever you sell back if you go and flip these levels into support. You can always do that. But what I'd be doing, again, I can't tell you guys what to do, right? You guys listen to me, you take away from this what you think is right for you. What I would be doing, if I had no cash and if I was fully in, is I would be taking about half off. Just take half off, turn into USDT, and just take it out of the exchanges right now. Any spot you have, I would be taken out of exchanges, because I don't know how recently you guys got into the market. For those of you that were around last cycle, obviously we all know about what happened with FTX, right? And right now, obviously, there's pressure going on Binance. I don't even think Binance is going to fail, but exchanges like Mexi, exchanges like, the less well-known ones, right? Like WeX, so on and so forth. Any of these exchanges go down, that's still like a world player, not as big known. It's still going to cause massive problems, right? So if you have your spot currently on exchange and you don't plan to get rid of it, right? Get it off exchange. Put it on Ledger, move it to a cold wallet, like a backpack wallet, a Phantom. Open up a fresh wallet that you haven't interacted with before and just send everything there, right? Doesn't matter. But I'll move it off exchanges, because if any SEX goes down, it's going to cause a huge problem. And I have got PTSD after FTX. Even though I wasn't affected, I've seen many people get affected. I don't want any of you to be victim to something similar should it happen. I'm not saying it will, but should it happen, better be safe than sorry, right? Because, things like that typically happen here. You need the reason for a massive crash. If they're going to give us some sort of massive crash, and this was just a prelude, exchange going down, I wouldn't be surprised if they just reloaded that play. Right? So again, if you're not planning to sell spot, you're just planning to hold whatever it's long term, right? You've got some long term bags you want to hold, right? Get them off exchange. If it's not a long term bag and you want to cut it, get your USDT off exchange until you're ready to buy, right? Just don't leave anything on exchange. Okay? But again, I repeat, I cannot tell you guys what to do, but what I'd be doing if I was fully in spot right now with no stables to buy, right, is I would be cutting about half. And I can always add the half back in should we go higher. right? I can always add that half back and should be go higher, but I'll be cutting about half. The reason I wouldn't cut full right now is because, like I said, it's a 50-50 shot, right? We're currently at resistance on the stablecoin dominances. If we reject, at the end of the day, these coins will rally back. So if I sell everything at a loss and then things go back to normal, I'm just going to feel like a schmuck, right? So what I'd be doing is I'd be cutting about half. And again, the numbers can be up to you, right? You might want to cut everything. That's up to you. You might want to cut 40%. Whatever you want to hold, you hold. But if you don't want to hold everything you have, a nice rule of thumb, just get half off. Turn it into stable coins. If you're not going to buy straight away, get it off exchange, and just wait. Just wait until this either reclaims and we look like, okay, structure's telling us we're ready to go higher, right? Or wait until we get further confirmation of, okay, the 3.46 trillion is also resistance, right? We get further downside confirmation. Stablecoin dominance gives us that breakout retest, right? If we go back over here, like USDT dominance gives us that breakout retest. Stablecoin dominance gives us that breakout retest. If that happens, get rid of the rest as well, because then at that point, you've got further confirmation, right? This being 50-50, this would not be 50-50 anymore. This would also be buyers showing control of the sellers in these two, which we know is inversely correlated. So that would be sellers showing control of the buyers on your typical crypto pairs. And when everything is showing you, okay, sellers are in control, then you'd be all out the market. Logical approach, right? So I think this is what I'm going to do with the challenge account as well. So from 21K, if I tally everything up, we're currently sat around 40 something K, right? Obviously, we were up to 60 something K total. We've taken a hit with this red, right? It's what it is. We're not on the red. We're still in profit. That's the big thing. From 21K, we're currently sat around 40 something K with the challenge account. If I was to get rid of half right now, what would that mean? It would mean I would have 20K cash and I would have the 20K rest in positions, right? And if these also, like I said, if you get that breakout retest, so on and so forth on stable coins, right? Then I would sell the rest with the challenge account. That's what I'm thinking of doing right now. Right? With my own main account, all I've done is I've taken a majority of the things I want to hold long term, like Bitcoin, like my Ethereum, so on and so forth. I've just moved it off. It's off exchanges. It's on ledgers and stuff, right? It's across cold wallets. It's on ledgers, so on and so forth. And I'm going to probably get rid of some of the altcoins, right? But I'm not going to sell everything because many of these altcoins, if the 50-50 doesn't play out and we do get a big rejection as stablecoins, these will go back up, right? But having cash on the side always helps. I'm not going to sell much because I still have a lot of cash left over for my main account, right? I always make sure I'm sitting on a huge amount of cash on my main account. Like 40% right now I have on cash on my main account, and the rest is majority of it is in ETH, right? And BTC. Some BTC I'm never going to sell. So my main account's fine, even though I'm down like nearly 500K. Right, nearly £500,000 in unrealized, right? I'm still not in the red. That's the important thing, right? So I just don't want to go break even or in the red, right? I want to walk away with profits. So that's what I'm going to do with my main account. I can tell you what I'm doing with my main account because that's what I'm going to do myself, and I can tell you what I'm doing with the challenge account, right? What I can't tell you is, guys, you should do this, but that's what I'd be doing, and that's what I'm thinking of doing with the challenge account. So you do with that information what you will, right? Whether you're going to stay all in, whether you're going to get rid of half, you know what I'm going to be doing with the challenge account and what I'm going to be doing with the main account, with my main account, right? So whether you want to follow suit, you want to do something similar with your own twist, or you want to just hold, it's up to you, right? I can't tell you guys what to do, but I can tell you what I am doing, and that's what I'm going to be doing. So the reason I wanted to do it in this way is because I wanted to give you guys it's almost like a checklist. The way I do things is almost like a checklist, right? This is us using, because we all when we do the sessions, we always go through this, but I feel like many people don't realize how important it is to look at these, right? Look, notice I'm not making my decisions based off the Bitcoin chart or the Ethereum chart. Those are support, I know. I'm making my decisions based off the macros, right? Because if the macros go and reclaim, I can go and buy in the USDT chart. I know that. I've not even looked at the Bitcoin chart or the Ethereum chart, but I'm making my big decisions based off those. If you want extra confluence, then you can go to the BTC, the ETH, so on and so forth, right? Those are our support at the end of the day. But yes, that is how I'm going to be tackling this. Do you guys have any questions? Sorry, guys, I know I've been talking for a little bit. Let me go through. Secret. Right, let me take a look. That's crazy. Reversal. Imagine, bro. Yeah. I got this recording, bro. Don't worry. Bro, you saw what they said. They said they're up like 1 billion, bro. Insane. How are they not being what's the word I'm thinking of? How they're not being like, investigated, right? They're up a billion, the Trump family, off the back of all of this. I'm still optimistic though, right? I'm just giving you guys an early warning because it would be extremely, what's the word, irresponsible of me to not tell you about the weakness just because I think it's gonna go higher. At the end of the day, we buy. The reason we've been bullish so far hasn't been because of a feeling. Of course, market cycle and just experience plays a part, right? This is not my first cycle. I've been in multiple cycles, so that's played a part, and that is the reason why I'm also going to be giving a warning here. Because now that off higher time frame consolidation, we're seeing breakdowns. Yes, we could go and reclaim those breakdowns, which is why I'm saying for the challenge account, I'm not selling everything, right? Just 50% for now. But we could also get that further drop, right? And if I don't show you guys this weakness when I see it, just because, oh, but what if it goes higher and it doesn't, you guys are going to be sitting way deeper in the red. Way deeper. You do not want to be the person bag holding 60-70% in the red with no cash to buy. That's the most painful stuff, right? You're bag holding for the next cycle. And a year you can't do anything, right? So that's the reason I went through it this way. Just a complete logical, no emotional, just completely logical and technical approach to doing this. I still think there's a shot we bounce, right? I still think that I'm still optimistic. Largest transfer of wealth, higher time frame monthlies look fine, right? I'm still optimistic, but you can't ignore lower time frame weakness when it's substantial, right? I ignore lower time frame weakness when it's not substantial, but these are happening at substantial areas at pivotal moments in seasonality as well, which is why I can't ignore it, right? Which is why I'm saying it's very easy here to mitigate your risk before things get really bad, right? Because you just ask yourself if you've been in this situation before where you held in the red, you're like, oh, I'm in the red, maybe I'll go back in the green. You don't sell when you know you probably should cut because there's weakness coming, and next thing you know, you're way deeper in the red when you should have just cut initially, right? That's something people do all the time. I don't want anyone here doing that, right? And again, I'm not saying this because I'm telling you guys you need to sell. Okay, I can't tell you guys what to do. I'm telling you why I think it's going to I'm telling you how I'm going to be managing risks going into such a volatile period, right? That's it. But if you can go and reclaim this, like amazing. If you can go and like reclaim everything, amazing. If you can go and just big fuck you to the bears, amazing. Bitcoin, still attempting to put that green candle in, right? Like we were saying. At the end of the day, huge amount of selling pressure coming in here. If you take a look at, you've gone into buy side imbalance, right? Filled it. So that area where we know there was trap buys, you feel the imbalance. We might get a lower time frame relief that leads to a higher time frame, right? But it's at this moment, that's all it is. We can't be certain what's going to happen. I'm not here to say we're definitely going to get the 134k target, because at the end of the day, we've already hit our blow off top target, right? If it tops our highest, what it is. All we can do is mitigate our risks based on what we see. That's it, right? But let's carry back to the chat. Sing globally. Try that, brother. Where's it? Yeah, still hoping for an extended cycle in this case. Remember, guys, at the end of the day, another thing to note is, I mentioned this last stream as well, but Bitcoin, right? The saving grace for Bitcoin this cycle has been the 50 MA, right? If I turn on this, now why is there only one line is the real question. Are we broken below? Yep, broken below that. Style. Oh, one sec. Weekly. There. This ain't right. Did I do another one? One sec. I'll just do it in this one. Okay, so we're gonna go for this is one sec. I had a custom settings for this and they've just disappeared. Where have they gone? Where has it Go on, one sec. Custom settings for this, but it's just disappeared. This one perhaps? Yeah, there we go. Okay, yeah, that's the one, that's why. Okay, if I go back over here and do this instead. Oh, come on. There. Okay. The 50-week moving average, right? This one. The orange one. That is the one I'm interested in. Because I mentioned this last stream. But notice, anytime we've had an extended pullback on Bitcoin, that's been the saving grace, right? On the index chart, we're nearly there. 50-week moving average is around 101,553. If this breaks, that would be the most telling sign, in my opinion, that this cycle's cooked. If this breaks, if that happens, you're going to the yearly to 200, right? I'd expect bears on, right? Tops in. You can say that with chest, walk out. But every single time people be screaming top in, the 50s always led to a bounce, So until that's broken, just understand we're nearly approaching it. Bitcoin still has hope. There's still hope, right? That 50-week has always been that deeper pullback to bounce off before we go high, before it reloads for the next move up. And we're still above the 50-week moving average, okay, on the weekly. So we went over this last stream as well. Same thing here. The longer we go sideways, the more time this has to catch up, right? So if we were to go back up again, for example, and just chop over the next few weeks like this would go even higher and higher. So and this, like, if you want one clear sign, right? Even after everything we've gone today, if you just wanted one clear sign that we look absolutely cooked, if you lose this, that'd be the most worrying thing for me. Is if you lost our 50-week moving average, I'd probably think like a failed cycle scenario is where you're down when you then go. Not even a failed cycle scenario, but more like for old season, right? Failed cycle scenario. I think it'd be over. So that we need that to hold, right? The 50-week moving average. But remember, our best friend. If I turn this off once, by the way, you guys don't have no idea how nice it is to have a setup in front of me again, right? I've had no Wi-Fi when I've been away because Thailand's really good for connection, right? It's really, really good for connection, but not when you're out to like the middle of buttfuck nowhere. Because I was just hiking a lot and going to like really nice islands and stuff, so you don't always get connection. I don't have my laptop when I'm going there anyway, and then so on top of that, when I did have my laptop, it wasn't much. I didn't have proper headset. And I had only my SIM card to hotspot me off, and the connection was super fucking slow, so I couldn't like do anything, right? So it's really nice to have this again. So I think what I'm going to do when I head back to Asia again soon is I'm going to just buy like a really strong Wi-Fi dongle from here, and then take it with me. Yeah, maybe like a portable Skylink thing, But anyway, what I want to do here is global liquidity index, right? Let's do this. Global liquidity index, remember, again, for those not familiar with this, 75 days to like a 2 to 3 month lag, or 75 days to 3 month lag. Okay, so again, for example, this global liquidity bottomed when? October 2022, right? When did Bitcoin go? January of 2023, 3 months later, right? This global liquidity topped out properly when, right? Well, the first top was, let's say around just January, right? January of 2023. First top, April of 2023. Second top when? April of 2023. July of 2023. So you can see 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, right? This bottom when? This bottom, October 2023, right? And then we really started the rally. Again, 3 months later, right? October, November, December, boom, insane move up, right? So you can see this like 3 month correlation. Time and time again. When was this top? September 2024, end of September 2024. When was this? December 2024, 3 months later. This bottom, January of 2025. This, April of 2025. Again, 3 months later, right? Right now, global liquidity index is still going to the upside. If we take a look, this hasn't topped out yet. Right, this hasn't topped out yet, which is another. Now, again, like I said, there's plenty of good reasons for why bears could be right. There's plenty of good reasons for why bulls could be right now. It's one of those instances in time where there's enough arguments for both sides to be correct, and it's literally just going to be in hindsight which one's correct, right? You could bet for a play on both sides right now. One for the bulls. Another point for the bulls is global liquidity index is still going to the upside. This has not topped out yet, meaning that correlation we're looking for, right? Global liquidity making new highs. That means that 3 months later, Bitcoin could very well be making new highs, right? This happened when? June of 2025. This particular peak here, June, July, August, September, right? So that September, October time-ish right now, we could be seeing this flush because of that 3-month correlation. So if the rest of the correlation goes, that's another reason for why Bitcoin could be going higher, right? Maybe if we do get the 130, 140K. That's one for the bulls. So don't forget the global liquidity chart, right? Because that's one for the bulls. Another thing, of course, is also gold, right? Gold is going absolutely insane. It's going to new highs. People are lining up outside for gold. It's a frenzy right now, which makes me think it's actually very close to the top, which is why, I'm contemplating. I'm not going to actually sell my gold, but always in moments like this always makes me contemplate. I don't need the cash, right? So I'm just going to hold that gold for long term. Never sell my gold. If gold does top out, right, we could see that rotation from gold back to Bitcoin, right? And for that matter, let us go and look at the gold against Bitcoin chart, because that's something we've not looked at today. I just clocked. If you look at master list, gold against Bitcoin, I swear it's here somewhere. That's money supply, Bitcoin against gold. There we go. Not a surprise we're seeing this absolutely crash, because we know gold's been putting in new highs while Bitcoin's been absolutely dying, right? But if we take a look, let's do some TA on this. Let me just check. I've not got another one of this. There we go. This is currently at the 50-week. What is it? Is it the moving average or? Yes, it's not even the moving average actually. 50-week. You've already lost the 50-week MA on the weekly here. This one is. Let me just style. Which one's yellow? Yellow is.
Hello.
Yellow is
Co
the
nas
50-week.
na tu večeru budete chcieć? Večeru v úvodzovkách. Obedu.
Who's that? Concludes, bro. Your mic's hot. Just in case you talk about something personal. I don't mind.
Možnosti ťahu.
I don't mind if you guys use your mic, but
Možnosti sú
just in case. I'm gonna mute you for now, yeah?
Fine Jacob, vegánska verzia, ale neviem, že
There. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, so bro. I think I'll get like Starlink or something. Yeah, that's something I need to look into. Concludes, bro. I've got a few coins that I think ran way too high this cycle. If you're gonna build a swing short on some things, we'll take a look at it together. I'll create a stream on it. If this is the start of the bear market, then it would align with the 4-year cycle, meaning I would look for 1-year drawdown. So around this time next year, October 2026, bro, is when I'll probably expect the bottoming to happen again. I don't think it's going to be like a super long live stream, but we'll look at stocks in a minute, Jasper, and then I can get your question done as well. But 50-week, no, sorry, this is style. So MA1 is the yellow, MA1 is the 200. So we're literally on the 200-week EMA right now on Bitcoin against gold. But yeah, Bitcoin against gold, like, and again, this is, if you look at where we are, they're both valid trend lines. And the most valid trend line right now, to be honest, is if I turn the EMAs off once, the most valid trend line right now is this one, right? No, it's this one, sorry. There. That's the most valid one we've got, and you're trying to break that down, but we do have this, or like from originally, like if you were to take this as the original one, we have this zone basically, right? That's the way I'm looking at this. As long as this zone holds, it could be a nice area for Bitcoin to bounce. If not, do we have any wave structure? Jesus Christ, let me turn this off for now. Do we have anything telling us we could go lower on this trash? One sec. macro first always. So I'm going to take this to this. Well, there's that to begin with. I already had this one, I just realized. This would be a shock. But on a more macro scale, you'd have this. If I just go to the weekly here, here's your low. If this were to hit, that's an if for now, right? But I have to include this because again, we are starting to break down from a trend line. If this bat were to hit, this means one or two things. Either gold is about to go way higher than people think, or Bitcoin's about to drop way harder than people think, right? Compared to the other. So this is something to watch for. This is the most macro one, of course. Like, this could be very easily be invalidated, but if we lose this zone, there's a very high chance this comes to get hit, in my opinion. But of course, that's the most extreme scenario. So if we go and do this instead, and now look for nothing there. Could be some Carlies or deep Carlies if these ends up being hit right over here. Go for that, right there, right? So all this to say, Bitcoin against gold doesn't look like it's done, right? We're gonna know for sure when we get resolution from this. If we can go and reclaim this, if I turn this off, if we can go and reclaim this breakdown from the parallel channel, then that would make me think, okay, Bitcoin has a shot to once again start outperforming against gold. But if we don't, then Bitcoin has lower to go against gold. Even if Bitcoin stays flat as gold goes up, right? It could mean three things. Gold goes up way more than Bitcoin still. Bitcoin goes down way more than gold still. Bitcoin goes down as gold goes up, or Bitcoin stays flat as gold goes up. For those lower targets to hit, those are the four scenarios, right? But another thing to consider is that eventually that rotation from gold to Bitcoin, should it happen, right? Because people lining up at the streets to buy gold is a top signal if I've ever seen one. If we do get that liquidity rotation, then that's a lot of liquidity. Like literally, gold added Bitcoin's market cap, right? The first asset to go past 30 trillion. If we get some of that liquidity coming back into crypto, then that very easily pumps everything across the board on crypto. That's something else to consider. So today's stream is a hard one to do because it's so hard to give a definitive what's going to happen. That's why the best thing I can do for you guys is tell you what I'm doing to mitigate risk, right? That's the easy bit. Because like I said, I'm not joking when I say this is a coin flip right now. It could go either way. You can see there's many arguments for why bulls could still be right and we could carry on going higher. There's many arguments for why, okay, bears could be right and we could have a top, right? It's just one of those situations in the market. There's many situations in the market where you have a very clear vision, right? So the reason we've been so successful with just buying, longing so far is because there are way more reasons for why bulls would be right than bears. But right now, that is not the case, which is why I have to, right? It would be very unsensitive of me, or if that's the right word, to not do this stream, right? Even if it's not what you want to hear, even if like, okay, we could be in the red, we could be going lower, sell at a loss is not what you want to hear. It's something I have to say because if we do go based on where we currently are, if you have no dry powder and let's say you're fully positioned and you're in the red, the best course of action would honestly be what I'd be doing. Again, not that I can tell you to do anything, is taking half off and then leaving half on just in case these, like I said, the stablecoin charts were showing us we don't break out, right? But if we do break out, get rid of the other half as well. Just be fully stable until we get more clarity. That's what I'd be doing. Yeah. Okay, so with that being said, crypto is the only one that is actually doom and gloom. Like I said, the pairings right now are doing fine, right? So ETH against BTC looks completely fine. Like we're literally coming back down to now retest the 50-week moving average, right? Still below us. We're above the 50-week moving average. We're below on the daily, but that doesn't matter. Around the daily, like these look like they're squeezing off for a potential squeeze in the future as well. The higher time frame MAs. So we could have some more chop on the BTC pair, but ETH against BTC honestly is nothing to be concerned about right now, in my opinion, right? Because the market structure is still high highs and high lows, which is why I'm adding. Because like I said, I've not been able to add to ETH against BTC ever since we've had that move up because we haven't had a substantial pullback. But now I've got it, I'm going to be adding until I'm proven wrong. Right? So I'm slowly again just doing daily DCAs into ETH against BTC for the challenge account, the ETH against BTC portion of it. Apart from that, we can look at proper altcoins in another stream. I don't want today's stream to be too long, right? We look at like which looks good, which doesn't, so on and so forth. What to short, what to hold. We can do that in a few days actually, because like I said, I'm not back in Asia again for a few weeks. You got random shitters pumping. Oh my days, that is beautiful to see. That is actually insane to see. BHB. I had this drawn on. I don't know why, of course I didn't have the alert on, but that's a deep crab. That is an insane deep crab on BHB. This is one of the charts I put up in chart dump a while ago saying these are the charts to watch if you want to get like value area bids. That is crazy. Deep crab, lows rated. That is actually really, really nice. I'll keep an eye on this one. Bro, this is reset. I'll keep an eye on this. The thing is, many alts are like this, right? Many alts are like this. Many alts were looking good, and then they weren't. Like C-Pool is literally back down to the lows of the range. Like absolutely terrible. Like the setups were there. That's the thing, right? The setups were there. You had completed wave structures, buy stepping in, an attempt to flip trend, right? The last level high, the little low, taken out, and then boom. So that's what it is. But let's take a look. Many coins, discount KTA. Take a look at this. Insane discount on this coin. This is the craziest thing I've seen in my life. 0. Oh wait. Why did Atom not rock on MEXC? It was Atom, wasn't it? That went to 0.001. Or maybe it didn't happen on all exchanges. Atom was another one that was looking good here. If it flipped, that would have been it, but it didn't, right? It didn't, is what it is. Let's look at Filecoin. Insane. I'm not even interested. Yeah, right now. So we'll take a look at everything, see what looks good to short. It's not going to be any of these coins before you start thinking I need to open a short on Atom or anything like this. Don't short things that are already down. Look for things that ran up insane, right? Look for these memes that run up, this vaporware that's run up. Those are the ones we want to be catching shorts on the next pump up if we cannot break above. Filecoin is the most painful one. If you guys remember, I was up 6 figures on that. It took about half out. I still had like 6 figures left in it in spot, and the next thing you know, it's back down, bro. Only got like 5 figures in this low 5 now. Round trip central. It's what it is though. It's like I said, I didn't take the full thing out because I didn't need it, and after a while I was just like, yeah, fuck it. If it goes up, it goes up. If not, I guess stops at break even. In case anyone's wondering, by the way, whether I was affected by the leverage, of course I was, right? For my, I didn't have any scalp accounts open. I didn't have any scalp the swings open. I have not scalped the swing for a while. But like I said, I only had like literally less than 10% of mine in my account in actual swings, right? When I woke up on Friday, I got liquidated for about like 45k on my actual swing account for my main account, right? But like I said, that's less than 10% of my whole portfolio, so I couldn't give two shits. I'm just glad. It wasn't worse, right? I'm just glad I was in like more 90% spot, because bro, imagine if I was in like, let's say even 40-50% like leverage, I would have been absolutely screwed, bro. So got liquidated for about 45k on my swing account, right? I was up a lot, and then everything came down. Of course, I had my stop losses a break even, some hit, but many things didn't hit stop loss. I had the same problem as everything else, because even though the stop loss was there, the liquidity was so thin, stop losses just didn't trigger. Alright, so around 45k liquidate on my swing account. But like I said, that's less than 10% of my ports. So, for saying that, when I was looking at the days, how many people lost everything they had, I walked away with a scratch. Right? I can make that 45k back very, very easily. I'm not even stressed about that. I'm just glad it was just that, right? I still have majority of my port left. Of course, I've got cash outside waiting. Outside of my portfolio is all I can bring in. So, but yeah, I know I've not shared it yet, but I just wanted to do it live like this, so I did get liquid for about 45k on my swing account. yeah, it wasn't a nice thing to wake up to, of course. I'm not saying, oh, I'm not bothered at all, because it shouldn't have happened, in my opinion, right? I was so confident in those entries, but it happened nonetheless, right? Even with all the risk management parameters in place, stop losses are break even, profits have been taken, it's still like, yeah, everything just went crazy. So it was, yeah, it was absolutely insane, bro. Yeah, on Binance. Um, the video will be uploaded, brother. Yeah. Um, okay, so that's that. Okay, let's look at some stocks, right? Because it's not all doom and gloom in the markets. It's literally just crypto, which makes me think again that there will be a rotation. But Lemonade, 9% down today, but doesn't matter. Structure looks fine. If we can get the retest, the MA retest, this is going to go higher. In fact, I might do it here. Neo. The last lower high that led to the lower low has been taken out on Neo. Here. Just want a higher low to come in. The higher low could be somewhere around this region, right? But if that holds, something like this, a Neo would be a bid. I would add size to my Neo position, right? I've already taken some profits off this. Like I said, we've got more than a 2x from our original entries. So I've taken profits off, right? And I'm just going to use that to add back on in Neo once we get, if we get that deep fill. Not interested in this for now. That's just Boeing Company. Baba, another one. If you get a move back down to the grey box, it's a bid in my opinion for Baba. Otherwise, that 1.618, right? As long as you stay above that, you can do lower time frame to higher time frame bids on Baba on that. What we have here is a mitigated fair value gap right here. These are quite powerful. So if we do this, it's from to there to there. If this flip, wait, hang on, I might be mistaken here actually. Is it? Yeah, no, it is. There's a mitigated fair value gap. So as long as this mitigated fair value gap fits into support, right, this region, Baba goes higher. So Baba is another one you can add on to. Unity. This one, just say your alerts up. Oh, in fact, let me do that now. Where's the alert button? So, yeah, there. If I go here, I'm going to set an alert somewhere around this high, so 31.19, right? Add alert there. If you get this flip on Unity, just understand where we are, right? Your 2020 key level, reclaim, breakout retest, your trendline breakout retest, your potential PO3. If you get that retest there on Unity, as long as you're above the box, of course, above the mid, 24.91, it's a bid. Unity, wouldn't be surprised if you got $76 at one point on this, okay? Trend is of course shifted to an uptrend, locally speaking. So that's why another one I like Unity. I was looking at this. I can't do anything with this right here. These prices, so not interested. Oracle at these prices, not interested. Reddit, not interested. I want deeper if I want to ever get into this. Estee Lauder, again, if you guys remember this one, already in this, right? So this, I wouldn't be surprised if it grinds higher slowly. You could have a chop. This is stocks, right? We've got to think different time frame to crypto. This ain't gonna happen in a week. But Estee Lauder again looks good. Looks good to go. 102.22 is gonna come eventually, right? It's gonna come probably sooner rather than later, and then that's the first big test because that's the yearly level. If you can flip that, this goes to 130, 159, so on and so forth, right? But Estee Lauder, that looks good. LAC. Nice move up, a nice bit of a sell-off here, but not surprised, right? We had from our entries, we had literally a 277% pump on this baby. If this retest is successful and we do not break below, and any attempts from sellers to break below are met with just SFPs, right? Seller absorption, LAC goes higher, right? This is a really nice place, look. LAC goes higher if you can maintain, but if you get back below this, then eventually we'd probably come back down to value around $4, right? So anyone who entered this definitely should have taken profits by now, right? But as support right now, so if this holds, again, I wouldn't be surprised if this bounces again. Maybe it does something like this if it's topped out for now. And then we get a smiley face to like a deeper correction before going higher. Could happen. But for now, as long as this holds, LAC goes higher. Ehang Holdings, it still looks good for the same reason why it looked good originally, right? Ehang Holdings looks absolutely amazing. Look at that. Above, on the weekly, above all your moving averages. So which ones are these? It's above your 50, because your 50 is the orange, right? The black one is the MA4, which is the 300, this is the 200-day, sorry. Above your 200-day moving average, above your 50-day moving average, which is the orange. Above your MA1 is above your 200-day exponential moving average, right? And the 365 hasn't shown up yet, the yearly. But above everything, it needs to be on the weekly, right? On the daily, it might be different. It's going to chop. But even on the daily, to be honest, right? Pretty stable here. Weekly, 2 weeks above your 50. Monthly, above your 50. Like EHang looks good. EHang Holdings will not be surprised. I know I keep saying this with many things, but that's because I know how to look at these structures, right? Do not be surprised if EHang Holdings rebalances to 30 and perhaps higher if you have a breakout. Another Chinese stock here. I think Chinese stocks are going to do absolutely amazing. EHang Holdings looks really, really good. Okay. So if there's another Chinese stock for you guys, if you wanted to get into something, I know I've already shared it before, but it still looks good, right? That's the point. The fact of the matter is, EHang Holdings still looks good. I can just go ahead and do this. There's a monthly seller zone, something more local, right? There we go. Resistance in the past. You are currently above that. EHang Holdings looks like the stuff of dreams right now in terms of structure, in terms of exponential moving averages, in terms of where it is, in terms of risk management, right, for the long term. EHang Holdings looks good. Okay. RCAT, again, I don't want anything to do with this right now because I don't know what to do with this, right? United Health Group, not got that low yet. I was really hoping we'd get that low, but you front ran the shark and then had a nice little move up. One of the people from the group asked me to chart this for them a while back in DMs. I would still be interested in 195 if we got this for maybe like a monthly bullish divergence, right? Get this back down, higher low in RSI, while this perhaps puts a lower low in. That'd be amazing to see before it rallies up. Don't know if we will, but I'll keep an eye on it. Not going to buy this here. Marks and Spencers, I'm actually in this, believe it or not, right? I've not much. I've got about a 30k position riding on this. Just spot, right? 30k spot riding on this. The target is $5.17 to $5.70. Is this in pounds? No, this is in pounds. Sorry, £5.17 to £5.70, which is going to be like $7-8 or something like this. Just quickly, I think. But I am in this, right? M&S. Got about 30k position in this one. So just waiting for this one to play out, really. Tesla. Now, Tesla is the one because the amount of times I said, look, Tesla looks good. Above that, right? Above the B point of the 618. Above that B point of the 618. Above the weekly, right? The weekly seller zone, right? Supply zone, rather. Mitigated supply zone. As long as we're above that, we go high, is what we're saying. We're literally halfway there to the target, right? Another impulse up, this will be a 2x. Otherwise, Tesla, if you get Tesla around $365, right, 383, that'd be the next bid. If you missed the bid at the low, your next bid is going to be on Tesla somewhere around here, right? That on Tesla would be absolutely insane. Okay, and I would size up on Tesla here if we got it. Yes. Rolls-Royce, don't even need to look at this. This one's, I've already made my money on this. Nothing much to do here. I'm not going to short. I'm not going to buy. So I'm not interested in this one until either like a massive sell-off or some sort of very clear top coming in. But this was one of the best bids I did. This one I didn't call. I just literally called this for my friends and family, IRL friends and family. But this one was an insane bid during 2020, bro. 618, 886, deep garly, perfection in terms of TA, right? Smiley face, insane. Next, Coinbase. Loads of SFPs right now on Coinbase, but at the daily 550, above the weekly 50. Again, if we get a substantial pullback, it's going to be to the weekly 50. Many things are going to check back to the weekly 50, in my opinion. That's if the sell-off continues, and that's where you would sort of reconsider getting into this if you wanted to. I've already got out of all my Coinbase. I don't own any Coinbase stock right now. I would consider getting back in, but at these prices, the risk to reward is not worth it for me, which is why I've not said anything about it. Right? I'd want a substantial discount before buying spots stocks. So for me, not interested in Coinbase right now. I want this way cheaper if I wanted to buy. Next bear market, you best believe I'm going to buy this because I think Coinbase is here to stay, right? So next bear market, the Coinbase stock probably gives an insane entry. Right. For example, if the megaphone structure continues, even like 166, that'd be an insane entry on Coinbase, especially if you've got a rate to reclaim. But Coinbase is one to watch for. Right now, I wouldn't enter. Like I said, it's just too high, too risky. No clear risk management here, right, for Coinbase. Now, BlackBerry, my bro Duke. Put this on my radar. I think it looks insane. It looks like it's setting up for a squeeze. I am in this for the challenge stock account. I'm in this for my main stock account, and I will add more once we get above this weekly 50, monthly 50 properly, right? We're above everything on the weekly, but this looks like it's setting up for a classic EMA squeeze, bro. This looks insane, right? When you're oscillating, especially your EMAs tend to curl like this. we typically like, you end up squeezing to the upside, right? The momentum oscillators. So a BlackBerry does look good here. Very easy, just to buy stock and just hold BlackBerry, right? Just very, very easy to buy, just spot and just hold BlackBerry. That's what I'm doing for my main, and also for my for the challenge account as well, right? BlackBerry is one of the ones to pick up. Hood, yeah, I'm not doing anything with this here, so not interested. Now, the other one, I think I mentioned this before, but I only noticed this wave structure the other day, right, when I was on the plane. Bull. I think Webull is at a very, very insane area. If you take a look at this, we have X, A, B, C, right? We had a D at some point, we lost the 786, but what we did on 14th of October 2025 is we went and we hit the 886. We have got a macro from macro in terms of this charts anyway, right? From June of 2025 down to now, we have got a deep godly that has hit on Webull. If you wanted to enter spot with a tight risk management profile, right, you have three different options in my opinion, looking at this straight up. Number one would be cut if you lose this low. That's a 5.56% risk, right? And your final TP would be around the 1.618. But of course, you read the TA, and if you see weakness coming at 13, 15, you take some off there, right? That'd be a 16.52 RR total. But even if you just do something conservative, that's a 6, and that down there's a 3.3. So no matter which TP you go to as a trade, this would be worth it, right? The other one you can do is, if you enter now, you don't have to enter fully, right? You enter, you use the 20-40-40 method, right? With your own sort of ratios to have a wider stops below these, right? So 12% stops, and again, the TP would still be the same in my opinion, 7.48 total, but you wouldn't enter everything right now, right? Since the stops wider, you'd wait. If you flipped, for example, 2025 6 month and, the 786 in the support, you'd add some, otherwise you DCA some down at these lows. You have more room for, you have a bigger room in terms of downside, but you also have, entering everything at once, right? That, in fact, those two would be good. And the third option you have, which I would not recommend personally, unless you're holding long-term spot, right? This is only if you're literally buying, like, spot to just take off and hold for a while, right? Would be this one right over here. But in this case, you probably end up going higher than this at some point, and you think that we probably go and hit, for example, something like this, right? This is what you'd be looking for. But that again is super, super long-term now, because your downside is like 20%. Those are the three different ways you can enter Webull. Just the structure itself, right? I think it looks very, very good. 618, 886, because that 886 only hit the other day, 14th of October 2025. So it's been 3 days since this pattern completed, right? So this one, I'm going to add to the challenge account, and let's see where it goes, right? But Webull looks good. Right, that's the one I wanted to mention. Of course, I've still got my Rivian. I think Rivian looks really, really good. Just look at the structure on the higher time frame on the weekly, right? It could chop around some more. I don't care. Rivian is a long-term hold. I think this goes. At some point, this goes. Again, did anyone believe LSE was going to rocket like that until it did, right? Did anyone believe, for those of you that now knew me before, did anyone believe that Alibaba was going to rocket the way it did? No, but it did, right? Did anyone? I gave NIO in this server. Did anyone think NIO was going to rocket? No, but until it did, right? It just insanely just went up. So I think Rivian will be something very, very similar. Right, so still in Rivian, this is the biggest stock currently in terms of the challenge account, right? Holy shit, what is the INT now? I looked at this for someone, but that is a very, very nice sell-off. 1 second. That is a monthly fair value gap. Ooh, 61 to 50 for INT would be a nice bid in my opinion. In fact, this entire zone here, I'd watch for some sort of bottoming structure to come in there, but that would be a really, really nice area for INT. Keep an eye on this one. Let me put a alert on 1 sec. No structure or anything like that, right? So I wouldn't just bid like a red. That's gambling. We don't have any structure to base things off of, but that's coming down to a pretty nice area. So we'll keep an eye on that one. CLSK. That's insane move up. This was an insane stock. This literally given live, by the way, guys. I know this looks like something someone put on afterhand, but when I was in AR Collective a while back, this was given live, bro. This was live. The most insane stock play in terms of risk to reward, right? Because Rolls-Royce outperformed in terms of percentage gains, but that was just a long-term hold for me, so I just bought the lows. But this one had a very clear invalidation. This one was insane when I gave this one. But CLSK looks good. Actually, no, we missed that, but it's had to move up already. Okay, very clear range on CLSK anyway. If you can flip this into support, we have a new place we can bid right here. You can see that very clearly, right? Range. If you do this, that would be the bid on CLSK next to go higher. Clear spark. and ENR, Siemens Energy. I looked at this for someone. The initial shorts we would have taken would have been, I don't know why I put this one here. I don't know if I gave this one live or if I gave this one as like a, if this happens, this happens. But right now, what have we got on ENR? 382, 3.618, not hit, 2.618, trying to flip into, I wouldn't short this yet, right, or anything like this. This could very easily just carry on to the upside. 112, 122 still remain targets. I wouldn't do anything with this right here, basically. No, not worth it. Wouldn't bid, but definitely wouldn't short, too strong. So that is all the stocks I'm looking at. Is anyone looking at any other stocks? We can quickly add it to this. UPS, okay. Let's take a look. UPS is that's the delivery service, right? United Parcel Service on YSC. Let's take a look. Oscillators wise, this is free falling, but that's on the daily. Same on the weekly. Okay, just bang it. Okay, there we go. Okay, so no bottoming structure yet. That's a yearly candle. I will not bid this straight away, but let me. Man, there's so much more data on stocks, right? I was always. You can literally look at that like a supply zone. 78 to 67. Very simple on this one, Jasper. If we can get that, that'd be amazing. I'll do a more thorough TA on this and post it on the chart. I don't want to like do everything and just put it on YouTube, right? So I'll do a more thorough TA and put it on a stock chat for you, Jasper, later when I get the time. But yeah, no, thanks for the recommendation, bro. That's a interesting looking chart because these are the kind of charts you want to be looking at, right? Not things that have already gone up and you have no risk management profile on, but rather things that are coming down and something we can perhaps, you know, identify some wave structure on or identify some sort of opportunity on, right? And this looks to be one of those for now. Although I would say there is no opportunity in the sense of like a structure's not bottomed out, everything's free falling, the trends to the downside. So I think it's probably a bit too early to be bidding with size. So I'd probably hold off for now, but I'll definitely keep an eye on this one, bro. And if it enters a really good bid zone, then we'll take action accordingly. But if I have a 618, it's easy winnings. I do not have a 618. In that case, we could be dealing with a shark. I see the possibility of a shark here. Stocks do love sharks, to be honest. If in case you guys haven't noticed, stocks absolutely adore sharks. Although that is very shallow. Very shallow. The hop of a bat then is the next thing I'd be looking for. $1.13 would be the hop of a bat. So you've got some extra confluence for a rate of these key levels. This is just, I'll do a property on this later and go on it. This is just looking at local structures for now. I'll do something proper and put on, bro. But that's a, yeah, I'll keep an eye on this one. Probably coming down to value soon. Oklo, LLY, BAYN. Yeah, BAYN would look very good when you post this, so. Yeah, sure, brother. Inside a trading screen. Okay, I'll take a look at that. I mean, easy to manage risk, right? If you look at this on a yearly basis, if you accept below that yearly low, right, 2020 low, you can just cut at the end of the day. Like, it's very easy to manage risk, so it wouldn't be a bad buy at all. If you wanted to YOLO it, you would just put your stops below this. It's very simple, this one right here. And if you wanted a zone, then it'd be between 82 to 78, right? As long as you're above that, you can bid this very, very simply. So yeah, that's something you can very easily look at if you wanted to buy this. Okay, so the next one is Oklo. Let's take a look at Oklo. What is Oklo? Right, insane. Nice move up, but I wouldn't be able to do anything with this. I can't see why I would risk in terms of risk management profiles. Like buying this right now would be just, it's impossible. So I'll keep an eye on it in case it ever drops severely at one point. But this is an insane move up. I can't do anything with this here. Not until like 100 to 86 at least, I'd say, down over here. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on it though. Let me put an alert up just over here, one sec. There we go. The other one is nuclear. Okay. Gale wants AMC. Octopus wants LLY, BAYN. So let's look at LLY. Eli Lilly and Company. Okay, we have. Is this flagging? What the hell? Okay. Now this ain't looking bad at all. Nice. Okay, so there we go. Let's go to the weekly. Let's make this even. There. I think that works nicely. Something like that, right? So you flip the midline. It's a bid. In terms of risk management, very simple. Like, it's 50 MAs there on the weekly, right? 50 weekly moving average. The midline of this sort of parallel channel. If this was for example, if you could leverage trade this, right? If this retest was successful, you'd bid it to try and play to the upside, and if this flipped, you'd add size to then go higher. But invalidation is also very clear. If you lose that 50-week moving average, just cut it, because you probably have a move down now. Lower highs, lower lows, to the lower the channel, and then to these yearly MAs right over here. Actually, very easy to manage risk here. So, you know, if you had size, like you could put in, for example, like 8k, buy 10 shares at the midline. If that's lost, just cut it. Otherwise, you'd be standing to make like a nice 15%, pretty fast in my opinion. Right, so like 1,200 profit, pretty fast in my opinion. And that's with stocks, of course. I'm not even gonna talk about options here. But yeah, very easy to manage risk on this one. I don't know why. Around the hard line there. Okay, LLY. Let's take a look at BAYN and AMC. So BAYN, Bayer AG. Which one's the best one to go for, Solbro? Is it XCTR? Just gonna go with that one. I can see the smiley already. Yeah, okay, perfect. So, trying to reclaim the 50 on the weekly. Good stuff. Daily looks good. Daily looks good. Trying to squeeze. If you can get above all of these on the daily, then this starts to go up. BAYN does look good. I know I've already said this in the stock chat once Sol put it up, but it does indeed look good. That's a nice buyback right over there. Previous lows is down over here. Yearly fair value gap was over here. So if I do current cycle, there's your yearly fair value gap, which is what you're rejecting off right now. So a reclaim of this yearly fair value gap would absolutely send you. So here's some key levels straight away, right? There's a yearly fair value gap. And again, I don't do this shit on like the 3 minutes. I think fair value gaps on lower time frame are a complete waste of time. But higher time frame is confluence, right? Again, more data. So that is very, very good. And here's, in fact, that is a daily SFP. If the daily were to close like this in 2 hours 30, you have a very, very easy candle. Easy way to do your risk management, literally like this. Just for a trade, you could do that, right? Just a range-bound trade. Is that, of course, the macro structure, the harmonics. I've not even looked at that yet. Let's take a look. So you can see there's big M shape, big old M shape right over here. That's a 5, okay. So we're gonna drag it to the 886, which is here basically. Yeah, block it in place, coordinates. above the 886. If we go and retest the 886, I will bid this with size because this is starting to look good, bro. Very, very good. 0.886. Oh wait, no, this is the macro bat. 0.886. I'm sure. Well, I mean, there looks like there's a crab of some sorts right over here. Okay, there's probably a deep crab there if I do this. Remind me again, what was the hop of the crab slash deep crab? Is it the 2.0? I completely forgot. I think it's the 2.0, right? The hop of the crab and the deep crab. Yeah, that'd be great, Jasper, by the way. Yeah, that'd be amazing. Now I'm pretty sure it's 2.0, the hop. So let me just go and do this. One sec. It's 1.618 29 draw V. So this is the deep crab 1.618, and the hop of the deep crab to create a very, very nice PRZ would be the 2.0. Damn, that is beautiful. Oh, this thing could cook, bro. I mean, TA wise, this thing would absolutely cook. Coordinates. So that would be the hop of the deep crab, and I really hope it is the 2.0 because I think just off memory, off the top of my head, I forgot, but I think it is the 2.0. Deep crab 2.0, and of course you have the 2.618 and stuff as well, right? So we've not quite hit the 2.618, but very close. That's a 618 would be right over there. So we had a very nice PRZ here, all in all. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these, I'm going to make them a different color. There. So yeah, SAP there for now. Yeah, the order block getting down, but smiley face could come in. I mean, for a higher time frame play, this it doesn't get better than this. That is an insane area to just get into spot for the longer term and just hold. What is it? What is BAYN? What does it do again, bro? Pharma company, okay. Oh, okay. So with regards to your VFP question, Jasper, over by next week anyway, we'll do both the consolidation session for core and advanced. So I'll get it answered then, yeah, brother. Because obviously this will go on YouTube. I don't wanna answer it here. Give the source away. Yeah, no problem, bro. Biggest in Germany, I think. Okay, yeah. Big Pharma, basically. Yeah, never bet against Big Pharma. Yeah, but anyway, the reason we're rejecting, we can see key levels, right? Very, very key levels, yearly fair value gap. Let me go and actually write that down. So this is, I've not even done any like, buy seller zones, key inflection areas, anything. 12-month FVG high. 12-month FVG mid. And 12-month FVG low. Look, until crypto behaves again, if liquidity is going to rotate here, that's where we'll be, right? So this looks good for a higher time frame play. But like I said, right now the play would be, if you wanted to keep it tight, this. And if you flip this, you add size because you're going to go way, way higher, right? If you flip that, you add size. But no, this looks good, bro. I probably haven't put down all the wave structures and stuff either. Only put down the most obvious ones so far, right? There's probably more wave structures I can put down. But in terms of wave structure and just where we are, that looks insane. That's a very, very good spot. Very, very good spot. So I'll look at ways to add this to my main and my challenge account. Yeah. BAYN looks good. Looks very, very good. Yeah, just liquidate all our crypto holdings. Just put it all into BAYN. Honestly. Okay, BAYN, and Gail wanted AMC. I think. Where's AMC? Yeah, AMC, and then there's BHP. Okay, AMC, BHP, and then I'll cut. Okay, so AMC made me so much money last cycle. You don't know the habit to put. God damn, bro. Jesus Christ. Like, literally, I bottom pinged this last year with size. That is crazy to see where it's at right now. Holy shit. There's nothing to do here. There's only one thing we can do, okay? Let's go on the yearly first. There is 12-month seller zone, sorry, buyer zone from last year. You're below everything we need to be in. What about the 6 months, right? So here is your current 6 month. You're at the mid. That's good. 4 month, don't care. The next one I want is very simple. It's the monthly, right? And for the monthly, I'm going to go ahead and just put a box down so it doesn't get confusing. Well, bam. Okay, so AMC is, let me just do this. This is your 2024 low. Jesus Christ. Right, 2024, 12-month buyer zone mid. And then 2024, 12-month buyer zone high. And then here's your $2025 6-month, and I'm gonna say 1 star. This is your buyer zone high. Buyer zone mid. Don't even say buyer zone there, that's just a low. Okay, there we go. So we've got that. And you know what? Just because fuck boxes, I'm gonna do this with this as well. Lock it. We can get rid of the 0. And we can change this to yellow. Perfect. Okay. There. So this is just some random monthly from April. So this is just, this is 2025 still? No, this is 2024. So I'm just gonna say monthly buyer zone high and monthly buyer zone mid. There we go. Okay, so if you wanted to get into AMC, let's take a look at it holistically. I mean, if you turn the monthly off first, turn off the price range. What else have I got on this? One sec. I've got fibs. Yeah, I could turn the fibs off. I just want the yearly and the 6 months for now. Looking at this, AMC is very clear what needs to happen here. There. Bid, very easy, right? I would wait for a close above $2.78. If that happens, it's a bid. How would you close it? If you lose this trend line, you can see you don't want to be holding this. This is going to dump to 245 again very, very fast. But if you get a close above $2.78 and the trend line is respected, this is a very, very easy bid, right? For AMC. You might get something like this, a rate to reclaim. But whatever happens, I would do it simply around $2.78 for now, right? I'll do it around $2.78. Like if you manage to catch the rate successfully, like it's what it is. But the thing is, that could go to a lower high to get and go lower. So ultimately, the easier bid would be to just, as long as $2.78 is hold, not $2.66. So even if your rate doesn't really matter, as long as you can reclaim this $2.78, you know, you can have some AMC, right? But just because look at where it is, it might have a shot to take out these next here, right? You might go and take these out. For example, if we look at it in this regard, it's still not a successful retest, to be honest. A bit abysmal, so I'll just do this for now. This could have a resolution to the upside. I just wouldn't bid right now, just because, like, if you have a line in the sand, might as well bid around the line in the sand, right? If you get a close above 278, then I'd bid with stop loss below, like the last retest we closed, so on and so forth. Otherwise, these scenarios are likely. But it's crazy to see where AMC is. I don't know if there's any news with them. I don't know if they're, like, doing something to sort of restructure their company, anything like this, but yeah. AMC. How the mighty has fallen. Okay, so that's AMC, right? Okay. BHP. Okay, let's look at BHP. No problem, Gail. I'll do the BHP. Is it this one? ASX, BHP Group Limited, NYSE. See which one has more data. Oh, okay. Not a bad looking chart at all. Okay. Way more data in this one. 1973. Okay, I'll go with NYSE. Steel. Let me make sure we're showing the same price. No, so why is there a AUD USD? Okay, that's why, Austria. I'm gonna look at NYSE because, yeah, I'm gonna look at NYSE. More data on NYSE. This does not look bad at all. Not bad at all. Okay, let's try and look for completed patterns before I start throwing on just W shapes to the moon. What do we got? We got no, nothing there. Okay, 3 months. That is so clean, Jesus Christ. That is insanely clean, bro. Jesus Christ. Damn, that would have been a beautiful bid. I don't even need to overcomplicate. That would have been an insane bid. Done over here. Okay, liquidity. Oh, okay, it's right over here. But I want something more substantial than that. So let's put down the higher time frame trend. There we go. This thing looks like it's geared up to have an insane breakout at some point. I can't lie. Hang on. The only problem with this is looking at it like this, that's middle range right now, right? And I hate doing anything at mid-range. That's the only problem with where we currently are. Like, that was the entry. The entry's been missed, so I don't know what. 12 months, and there's too many ways to get a clean buy seller zone on. You can just use any one, so I think lower time frame will actually help here. Let's take a look. That's fine. Quarterly. This is what we need to get above there. At resistance right now. Wanted to make it a bit tighter, which is why I'm going with a quarterly one, right? We know there's wicks to the left. Like, depending on what time frame you're looking at, the support resistance is going to change slightly. Realistically, I should be doing this on the 12 months though, to be honest. So hang on, let's stick with my own rule. Let's do this with the 12 months. Previous cycle. Let's just stick with one. Alright, boom. There's a seller zone right there. Alright, we'll stick with that seller zone. If you look at it on the weekly, make sure, or rather 2 months, make sure it's respected, which it is. Okay, there we go. So for the local range we're in, just to not overcomplicate it, I'll just use these lines, right? The problem with this is we know there's a lot of seller zones and buy zones here, right? In moments like this, it can be a bit overwhelming because like, which one do I use? Just use any one. Literally, doesn't matter which one you use. Just use any one of them because you're gonna. The key thing with trying to find buy seller zones is having key levels to base risk and price action off, right? As long as you're plotting them properly, any one of them is going to be valid here. So all you need to do is once you get to a particular level, read the price action, execute risk. That's what you need to do, and then just look for confluence with a slightly lower time frame instead. So now what we can do is say, okay, well, there's our levels, and then boom, there, right? So as long as you're above 55.56, realistically, this thing's a bid. If you lose that, then 52.27 is where I look for. If you lose that one as well, have a move down towards 44. But this does look good, I can't lie, because that is a massive structure since 2011, 2016, 2023. In fact, I'd be surprised if this doesn't flag it. What a shit indicator. That should definitely have flagged it by now. It's just flagging local stuff instead. You have this beautiful, beautiful pennant, and then it's just not flagging it. Wham, 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 wham. That's a pennant. Gee, come on now. Okay, whatever. But no, this does look good, bro. If you wanna enter here, like if you wanna keep it tight, like I said, if you turn 55.65 into resistance, I'd cut. You can you can enter with size and you can just cut based off that one if you wanted to, right? It demands a bit more active portfolio management from your end if you wanna do it level by level like that. But when you're at mid range, there's not much you can do, right? Like that right down over there would have been the insane bit. I guarantee trap traders. One sec. Yeah, loads of selling pressure was going on here. In fact, let's take a look at this on. We should be on ATR. So BHP with average true length. Let's take a look at that. You had negative 70k. It delta, and yet look at the candle close. You had massive delta divergence here, huge seller absorption going on the weekly. That would have been an insane bid. Yeah, that right there would have been insane. This is basically what ETH did, right? Bit of why I called like 1,500 ETH back in April. That was an insane bid. Right there. Huge, huge trap traders. Look at that. Was that saying that was this many more shorts, and look how the candle close above everything, bro. Above your value area high, above your point of control. Yeah, insane. Nice find, BHP. Like I said, mid-range right now, so I'm a bit less excited. That's why I'm saying if you lose 55.65 turning to resistance, you could just cut until you either reclaim it or you get down to 52, so on and so forth. But if you visit these lows again one more time, I would definitely be at this. So I'm just going to set alerts up somewhere around, one sec, let me go back to the monthly. In case we visit these lows around 46, let's just set an alert. There we go. Good find, bro. That looks good, man. One day this is going to be breaking out, and we'll be streaming live. Doesn't matter if it takes 3, 4, 5 years. Doesn't matter if it's 2030, 2030, 2031, whatever. Whenever this does finally break out, we'll stream it. Don't worry. That looks good. Oh, they pay dividends. Nice. Okay. Now that's a winner. If this pays dividends and the chart's looking like this, that's a winner. That's a very, very nice winner. Nice one, Gail. That's what you want, isn't it? It's like enough money to just put size into things that pay you good dividends, while the chart itself, the underlying stock itself, looks like it's ready to rip. The double whammy. That's beautiful. BHP, nice. Yeah, the play makes sense. Nice, yeah, nice, girl. That's nice to hear. I always tell my friends the same as well. I tell them, look, when you negotiate a contract, just first thing you should ask is, can I get paid in shares? It's better for your tax, and if the company you work for is decent, it's almost guaranteed I mean, most companies pay you at a premium, no, sorry, a discount anyway, your shares. Like, they give you at a cheaper price compared to market, so it's a win anyway. So, always look at that. That was a W shape. Looks like not a bad, because it says 0.8, but depends on where you put it from. Not a shark. No. Could very easily give you a bat at some point. Okay, 886. Here. This could be something we call a BAM. For those of you not familiar with what a BAM is, it's called a bat action magnetic move. Now, there's things to do with the HSI, the Harmonic Strength Index, right? That's the indicator Scott Carney came up with. I don't do any of that. I just look at it holistically in terms of just price action. But all these ratios, do they make sense? Yes, they do. That's basically a 707, which for us, you know what that means. Liquidity rate of the golden pocket, 0.5 was hit. And in this case, as long as you stay above this 0.5 right over here, okay? As long as this 0.5 is support, literally what the reason I said buy Tesla, right? As long as you're above that, your target should be that D. So actually, this D might come a bit sooner than people think. The target of the D is 87.41. So based on even where we currently are, it's not a bad move at all. 40%. And if you lose the 0.5, just cut it, right? So yeah, just notice that. But you can have a BAM play here too. So if we get one more drive down to that 0.5, right? Maybe on like a 2-month basis. I don't know if we will on the 2 months. We've had it on the 2 months. I think this is it actually. Basically, if you buy here, there's nothing wrong with buying here. You would just, if you lose that 0.5, right? I've just updated my terms and conditions, let's say, for this play. If you lose that 0.5, that's where I'd cut. Because the BAM is out the window at that point, and I'll just buy the lows. But as long as you hold that 0.5, you're above it. Yeah, this goes higher. Looks good. BHP. Okay. But yeah, stocks look fine, right? It's literally just crypto, which is what makes me think like crypto could do like a huge rebound, right? Let's take a look at how everyone's doing real quick. Is it dying even more in the time we've been talking? 105,811, just chopping about for now. I honestly, I hope this ain't the top. I do hope we have one more like push to 130k Bitcoin, right? To new all-time highs on ETH, and like, you know, get like a decent rally going on many of these high cap holds. I don't care if the low caps don't go. I don't like, but things like AVAX, right? Things like Solana to 300, so on and so forth. If that would happen, like, I'd be happy. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Is what it is. But like I said, do take into account the warning I've given, right? Again, I've told you guys how I would, if I wanted to mitigate risk here, I told you guys how I'd do it, right? And I'm going to be doing it for the challenge account as well. So what you do is up to you. How you manage your risk is up to you. I can't tell you what to do, but you know what I'm doing, right? And that's not illegal. So there you go. But any final questions real quick? If not, we'll set a date for when we'll do the like consolidation session for Core and Advanced soon. I need to like refurbish. I need to help refurbish the restaurant and stuff over the next the second one. A few hiccups there I need to sort out, and then I'll be back in Asia again. But even if I'm back in Asia, I'll stream more regularly. Yeah, I'll take like a better headset and stuff as well. No problem, Miranda. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Don't worry about it, guys. I just wanted to make sure everyone was okay and let them know like what should be the next steps before things got too late, right? So just carve some time out today to do this. So if you want to mitigate your risk, guys, you know how to do it now. So yeah, so the consolidation session, Jasper, the volume footprint consolidation session and stuff, we'll do it sometime next week, I think. Yeah, no problem, guys. Okay, my pleasure. If something crazy happens, like we get some sort of massive dump, I'll go live again. I'll let you guys know. Otherwise, I'll let you guys know ahead of time when I next go online. But yeah, you know, if this is the top, it's calm. We'll wait for that structure break. We'll wait for the next opportune RR moment, and we'll just get into some shorts, right? It's what it is. Hopefully, no one's like in the red from where they started, unless someone joined very recently. Like many of the plays we've had at the end of the day, we've had many wins, right? So if this is where the market tops, so be it. Like we've had a very good run. Challenge account is still like, you know, 2x, right? From 21k, we're sitting at 40 something right now altogether. If I was to sell everything right now, it'd be around 40k. So yes, it's not quite 60-80, right? But it's what it is. If this is what the market gives us, we'll just make money on the way down, right? We're just going to take that capital, we're going to put it into shorts instead. It's the long run. That's what I wanted to do with you guys. Now, when we are shorting, of course, I'm going to have to go away from spot, but it's going to be 1 to 3x, right? People forget you can just do 1x leverage. So we've seen how risky leverage can be, especially with this leverage wipe. So if we are then at the macro top, and we're gonna pivot to shorts. I'm going to doing anywhere from, for the swing shorts, I'm going to doing anywhere from 1x to 3x, right? So for the ones I'm doing with size, basically like the spot we're holding with size, right? For the shorts I want to be doing with size, maybe I'll do anywhere between 1x to 2x, right? And then make it up to 3 to 5x once we've taken the initials out. You guys know how to do it in my system anyway. But there's no way to obviously short without being in leverage, so unless I'm missing a technique. But yeah, 1x short is basically like doing spot, right? Your risk is going to be the same. The only difference is, of course, you're going to need to have capital on the side for ADR, so on and so forth, whereas for spot you don't. But yeah, we'll just grow the account over time. It's fine. It's no problem. We're still up. The main thing is we're green, right? We've made multiples of our original portfolio over a few months, and the main thing is that we stay prepared in case we have topped out, which is why I'm saying for the challenge account I'm not selling everything yet, because not everything is favoring the bears yet. But I'm going to take half out because now bears are starting to have really, really strong arguments for why this could be a potential top. And like I said, take your shit off exchanges if you are not going to be selling anytime soon or trading anytime soon. There's no point keeping on exchanges, okay? If you don't want to take it to a tether, a ledger or something, move it to like a Phantom wallet. Create like a new Phantom wallet or something, right? Or MetaMask, so on and so forth, and just start moving it there, because just take it away from centralized exchanges. But remember, not your keys, not your crypto, okay? But yeah, anyway, guys, I'm gonna end this here. Thank you very much. I'll put this on YouTube for any of those that want to go back over it, and then I'll let you guys know when I do the next stream and stuff, yeah? And when I get the dates for when we do the consolidation sessions. But anyway, yeah, I'll stop recording here. See you guys soon. A bit long one, but it's fine.